What can I say except you're welcome?
Now the whole world can acknowledge me.
What's going on, guys? It's another episode of Talk It Up here with your boy Miami the Great, Final Boss Baby. Welcome to episode 4, where we're going to be doing some fantasy booking for the first time ever here on Talk It Up. We're going to just go over some matches of giving you guys some ideas of what we think will happen or is going to happen in the match between if people are going to team up or some people going to do turns, some just over some things like what happened with Raw, some ideas that me and Final Boss Baby had where we might have some things thoughts with the whole thing of what will be going on and what will go on. Shouts out to everyone who came here early. Shouts out to um Miss Jones. How you doing? Johnson. Hi, everyone's here. 8 people, please. Thanks for joining us. All we ask everyone is to please subscribe, like, comment, follow us on X, follow us on YouTube. Um, Always support us. That's all we need. Please spread the word around to your friends, family. Let them know about Talk It Up with here with me and Final Boss Baby. At the bottom, you see where you can find us on X, and also like and comment after the video is over. Please share with your friends if you're sitting, running, driving, listening to our podcast. Welcome to Talk It Up Podcast. Here today, we're gonna get into some subjects we got today. I'm gonna run down the list of many things we got here today. We got a couple things. We're gonna fantasy today. We're gonna fantasy book. We're gonna talk about Zoe Stark's injury. What happened is on Raw. We're gonna fantasy book New Day, Judgment Day, Solo and Jacob. What's going on with them? Logan Paul, Jay Uso and Gunther. Also, Seth has some little things going on with that. Women's division. How can we maybe make that a little bit better? And what we're gonna go with that. With what we're gonna go into the future with the women's division. I think me and Final Boss have some great insights on that. Sami Zayn. Some things on Sami Zayn and what's going on with Sami Zayn and Punk. I'm going to bring up my co-host here, Final Boss Baby. How you doing, Final Boss Baby? We're here. We're ready. I was just letting everyone know that we're doing Talking Up Fantasy today. You ready to get into some fantasy booking today?
You're in and out.
Am I in it? Am
You're
I
in and
in
out.
it out? I don't know why. I can hear myself. Can you hear me now?
I can. You just was in and out.
No, no, it might be on my end. Well, I don't
Okay,
know.
there you go.
Is it better now? No,
Kind of.
it's a delay on your end. I see.
It's better than what it was before. I couldn't even hear you. So keep talking. I'll let you know.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just going over our first
There we
episode
go.
of what we're going to be talking about. Talking up fantasy booking, where we're going to be fantasy booking some couple of things here today, as the topic says here, and on the bio on the banner. So, but first, let's get into it. Let's go ahead and talk it up. Let's first, before we get into some fantasy booking, let's talk about what happened yesterday with Zoe Stark's her injury. Um, Speedy recovery. Hope she does well. From what you told me, this is the this is second time the same leg that she injured. God, I hope when you have injuries like this, when I seen it, final balls, the first thing I said is, she might won't return because the injury, the way she landed, it was like sort of like a football type of landing where you see in the NFL only. It's very rare. I think the last time I seen someone come down on that leg was um um Six Vicious. I think that's what his name was. I think Six Vicious was the one that came down like that when he came down off the top rope. Okay, man, I'm a little too old then. I think it was Sid Vicious was the one that came down off the top rope, and
Wait, did he go by a different name?
maybe he did. He probably was going by Psycho Kid, baby. I forget his name. It was so bad because he went by so many different
There we
names.
go. Yep.
I think, but okay, well, I know him as Sid Vicious. That's how old I am. So so that's what I know him by. But it's if you go back and you pull it up on YouTube, Final Boss, same type of injury. Um, I don't know. It has not came out yet. What all she injured. I know that good job on WWE when they cut straight to commercial. They took a lot of time enough where to get her out the ring. I did see video of one of the trainers carrying her up back up the ramp. It seemed like she couldn't walk on it, and the way she landed on it, I'm pretty sure. I know you don't watch football, but it's a injury. I seen this injury happen with the Dallas Cowboys quarterback. He landed the same way. Final balls. He had this injury last year, the beginning of the season, about around the time we are at now, and he's still not playing. He's still not playing. That's how he landed the same way as Zoe, the same way. So I don't know if we see her return. It seems like her luck just is not going so good for her. I hope she keeps her head up because most of the people that is in her group has been either fired or released or not resigned. What do you see Zoe start next, and what's your thoughts on the injury, as far as where we're going with her next?
Yeah, so before I start that, I see we have Kendall in here. So hey Kendall, hey Gray, hey Carissa, and hey Lena. Um, as far as the injury, yeah. The injury happened so quick. I didn't even really see what the exact move she was trying to go for. I All I just saw was like a quick swoop from the top, and then a scream, and then she's holding her leg. But going back and looking at images, it looked pretty bad. I did learn that yes, it was the same leg that she had gotten injured before. Um, and I don't know. We don't know the severity of the injury, but it looked like her body went this way, her leg went the other way. So it looked like it's possibly a break, maybe a lot more serious than that. It looked really, really bad. But like you mentioned, WE did a good job handling it. They had a trainer come out there. They took her out. The match between Io Sky and Rhea continued. So they did a good job with them, really doing that. Sorry, it was a Kari and Io. So I mean, here's the thing: is that I was reading a couple of things and so a couple of things, and Tommy Dreamer came out and said, because he saw the injury with Zoe, we all knew that Rhea was going to win. We knew this match really set, for Rhea to win. That's Power Fantasy book. We'll talk about that later. But Tommy Dreamer had said that he's been through multiple injuries. Tommy Dreamer, that's a hardcore legend. He said one of the worst injuries he's ever had was a knee injury. He said that he's been knocked out by getting kicked in the balls. He talked about how, and I think I'm frozen on my screen.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
But okay, I'll finish this and then I'll restart it. But he also
You
talked
good?
about how about how he had broken every bone inside of his heel at one point. He talked about having a back injury, a neck injury, and he said the only injury what he felt like his career was in jeopardy was when he had that knee injury. He said that he had tore his meniscus numerous times. As we know, Charlotte Flair, that was one of her injuries, along with the ACL, MCL. Tommy Dreamer is probably the best insight. He talked about how, there's one point in the knee that makes you go left and right, one point makes you go up and down. But he said that knee injury was for him was that was the first injury where it actually put a lot of doubt in his mind about his career because of how severe it was and how bad it hurt him physically. So that just shows you, like, hey, it could be.
Uh-oh, did we lose her? Uh-oh, I think we lost Final Boss. Okay, we'll try to get her back. She
Can you hear me?
Okay, now we can. I can hear you now.
Yeah, I have to restart this thing pretty quick. But yeah, he also had told a little history about Zoe Stark. He said that when it came to Zoe, that the people that actually got her on board with WWE was actually D'Angelo Brown and Gail Kim. He said that they wanted her for a tryout. WWE wasn't actually really interested in Zoe Stark, but that she later did get signed to NXT. So I assume that the original tryout that Gail Kim and D'Angelo Brown wanted her in was for the main roster. She didn't make it there, so they did put her on NXT. And they said at that time she was going to be like pretty much the next big star, the next Jordan Grace, because she was that good in the ring. Yeah. And, and as far as what Tommy Dreamer, and this is just his opinion, what he said on this podcast, that, even though we knew that the match was for Rhea, Rhea's going to Money in the Bank, but Zoe Stark, she has been in pretty much a dead zone. They let go of one of my favorite people, Sonya Deville, and they didn't really have a place for Zoe after that. We haven't really seen her on TV like at all. So even though we knew Zoe wasn't going to win this match, it was still going to give her TV time, and it was going to probably put a lot of eyes on her, people in the back, so that way you will see her more on TV, and then they can kind of find where she fits into the roster now. And then this happens, and it happens early on in the match. So now this is unfortunate. But for my opinion, she had problems with this leg before, so there's a chance that she might come back for it because it's the same leg. It's not like she has a whole different leg issue. It probably was an existing issue that was exacerbated. So hopefully, she can come back, but she may have to be out for a long time because physical therapy, may have to learn how to walk again, likely going to have some type of knee surgery. What kind of knee surgery, we don't know. But at the same time, we had Charlotte Flair come back. She has no ACL. She also had problems with the MCL and a torn meniscus. So she had 3 different knee injuries. And even though she's not 100%, I don't think she ever will be. And even when that does come, it's going to take time for her to adjust to learning how to work with and walk with all of these surgeries that she's went through. And the fact that they let her back and that she can still actually do things in the ring tells you that she's going to be fine, but she has to get used to how to, walk with it because she's still a bit limpy. But that will come in time. In time she will learn how to adjust again. It's kind of like you getting braces. It takes time for you to get adjusted to braces on your teeth, a knee brace on your leg. Remember, Victoria, she fought most of her career with a knee brace. So you have to learn how to adjust to surgeries and to medical devices. So there is a chance that, with time, Zoe can come back. But when she does come back, if it is serious as how it appeared to be, and depending on if she needs surgery or not, she'll have to go through the process of learning to work with that change in her body. So hopefully that's where she'll be at. WWE, they're going to tell us eventually what happened. They're going to tell us the nature of the injury. You'll probably hear something about it on Friday. They'll probably had the announced team, bring it up and mention that. So we'll see from there. But we wish her a speedy recovery, and hopefully we can see her back soon. But again, this is part of the business. People get hurt at work all the time. I've gotten hurt at work all the time. Hell, people who work even in regular jobs may get a paper cut here and there. It's still a work injury. It's just that their work injury is more um, is at a greater risk because it's more physical. But if you work construction, if you're like you and you're a truck driver, if you're working on ladders, if you're working a warehouse job, if you're working any type of enforcement job, those jobs are more demanding on the body, so the risks are severe. People have to remember every job you work in, no matter how small, how simple, there is a risk of injury, and people do come back from it with time. So hopefully that's the case for Zoe.
Yeah, I'll keep touching on it till you get back because I know you're still frozen on there. But I feel like when it comes to this injury, like you say, this is the nature of the business. These stars, entertainers put their bodies on the line. Like I say, it'll come if it comes down to a point where she doesn't get to a point where she doesn't get to show us her craft. I'll say where we didn't get to see her full talent because, like I say, she's the last one out of that pure fusion collected group that was left. And when you say that, I was like, man, I just pray that she can get a good run. And once she's had her first day back, this happened. And the way it landed, I wish she would have landed on her back. Maybe she thought she can kick it. Maybe she thought Kyrie Sane was close enough to give her that cushion, I guess. So you have it was just I don't know. Like I say, when I seen it in slow motion, the first thing I thought was football injury. And most athletes that have this injury, you had Aaron Rodgers, you had like I say once again, you had that Prescott. These guys, they, Aaron Rodgers, he didn't his when he came back, the Jets let him go. Um, Prescott ain't even came back yet. So I know you said Charlotte, but when Charlotte had this injury, she didn't land like this. And you saying it's the same leg. I don't know. I don't remember the first time she injured. I don't know if she landed the same exact way. I'm just praying to God that she's she can get back in the ring and we can get her back on point. I'm hoping once she gets back, they don't let her go because I'm from what I'm hearing and from what I heard this morning, Final Boss, that there are some releases about to get ready to come sooner than I thought. So there are more releases coming before fall. So I don't know who's going to get released. I'm
From
hoping that
WWE or from other
yeah no
promotions? I heard
no
other
from
promotions.
no from WWE
Oh,
from
I heard about
WWE.
MLW. I did not hear about that from
Yeah,
WWE.
yes. I
Okay.
heard it. Yeah,
Okay.
I was doing some homework this morning. I watched um a certain channel on YouTube that I was watching that said, "Hey, there's some releases coming," and I was like, "Wow, that's pretty quick." So we may get three. The last time I seen we had three was pandemic era final balls. That's the last time we seen it. Um, if we get them this quick, do you see maybe Zoe getting released? Because she got injured twice. Because I think um, Cora J got injured twice, and they released her because of those injuries. Do you feel like Zoe could be next? I don't think Final Boss hears me.
Yeah, I heard some of it, but it broke up on my side. So repeated the question again.
Oh, I was saying that with these releases that we're about to get ready to get, Do you think that Zoe could be one of the people? Because I know Corey J was the person that was released because she got injured twice. Do you feel like maybe Zoe will be a part of this release either now or the next one at the end of this year? Do you feel like she will be the one to be released?
You know what? We all hope not. We hate seeing stars released.
Hmm.
But the reality is maybe, because she has all the signs now. Because, we've seen people get released because they were injured multiple times. Dakota Kai was one of those people, and she got released. We talk about how when they break up a team or a stable, they get released. Prime example, they broke up with Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson. And then right after that, they released Jakara Jackson. They kind of moved Pure Fusion Collective off of TV. And then what happened? They released Sonya Deville. And then what happened? Then they released the next round, they released um, uh, Shayna Baszler.
Yeah, Shayna Baszler.
And then also then going back to Dakota Kai, there was injuries and different things going on with Damage Control. And of course they had the dissension with Bailey, but we know Asuka was injured. And then we didn't really see them on TV anymore. For a while we saw Dakota Kai, before she got injured, she was like when they was doing that whole crowd thing, when they showed superstars in the crowd. Thank God they stopped doing that, because they were doing that for like a good month, but we hadn't seen that group really do anything. It was teasing like crash outs, things like that, and then it kind of just stopped. Now Io Sky's, of course, is a champion. Asuka is still out. We just saw the return of Kyrie just yesterday, but they weren't on TV for a while. We had an injury with Dakota Kai, and then she was on that release list. So now we have Zoe Starks, who fits both of those narratives. She's not in a group. Again, they released Sonya Deville, they released Shayna Baszler, people that she was working with, and now we have an injury. So it's like all the signs are there, so it doesn't look too good. Now, unless, they save her off on this round, because supposedly the rule is that they're not supposed to release people, supposedly, or they likely don't when they're on the injured list. That's not always the case, but they usually don't. They sometimes want to see where that injury is going to take them. Can they come back from it, win, et cetera, et cetera. So if they plan to release this pretty soon or in the next few months, likely Zoe Stark is still going to be going through, surgeries and rehabs and things like that. So they may hold off to kind of see where she is by the next round. So hopefully she can find her footing or have some good news in between that. So I don't think they're going to hit her this round unless they know for sure, hey, she's not going to come back, or we're 100% uncertain about if she can come back, which that's automatically going to be released. I mean, if you can't wrestle, then you can't come back. That's just inevitable, right? But if they're not sure, if she's still in that mix, there's a chance they may hold off and kind of see where she is. So it's kind of 50-50. The only thing, again, she fits those molds. Was working with people that are released and now injured. So, that's the unfortunate reality of where we are.
Yeah, nah. I feel like you said, she put so much when these wrestlers put so much devotion and time in it. Thank God Corey Day. I think she had like I think one of her injuries was a leg injury. Thank God she could still wrestle. Like I just said, the way she landed, it was like, oh my God, gruesome. Hopefully she can at least still wrestle. Hope she doesn't get released because of this. Um, or just being released because they feel like maybe she can't go again. It could be that too. Like I say, and when you said this match, we'll probably get into it later. Rhea was not one of the picks I thought, especially with the return of Kyrie Sane. Thank God, yeah, it wasn't her. Um, I mean, I've seen so many things on the IWC. Man, let's not wish an injury on someone else just because Rhea won. Let's say that. And I know some people had a little bit of the problems with slowdown videos of her injury, which I recommend no one go back and watch and see because that image is still stuck to my head. Like I say, I'm used to seeing something like that because I watch sports. Um, and only time I have ever seen it in wrestling, it's actually three times. There's another person too, final boss. I forgot. Adam Copeland. He came down a little bit like that. A little bit. It wasn't quite like Zoe, but almost the same way. Matter of fact, him and Sid almost had the same spot. People was comparing his injury to that. And Adam Copeland, he's way probably older than Zoe. He came back. I think that's his first one on it. Um, let's go ahead and let's move on to our next topic. We're gonna talk it up fantasy. We're doing some fantasy booking on some couple things. The lovely image from Final Boss Baby, who made the image today here. Final Boss, we're gonna talk about. Let's go into the new day in fantasy book. I'm gonna start first. I don't know if you noticed, but I see Grayson Waller with him in the back, and I was like, that's quite interesting because I know for a while they've been trying to break up him and Austin Theory. Yesterday they was kind of teasing it. You had the crowd cheering Austin Theory. Austin Theory was one of my people that I thought was going to join Seth and them, but not no more because now the crowd is cheering him. And once you get somebody cheer, it's already a baby face. So I think what the new day is, are they going to replace Grayson for their big E and and go back to a 3-man group? Um, if it was me, I would be interested to see it. It will be kind of interesting to see because I know next week they have a match between Alpha Academy and they have a match against the Royal Raiders. It's for the titles. Maybe a way you can get this is a way you can get um Grayson to interfere and help New Day, and that's how you can get this started. I seen someone on X say that Karen Cross could have a hand in this because he has been talking to the New Day quite a lot to maybe convince them to recruit people to start helping them on their team to turn more people heel. If I was booking it, I would like to see it. I would see where it goes. They still need a lot of tag teams on Raw. I don't know who we team up. It seems like Penta and AJ Styles yesterday. I don't know if you got to see it. That was a great tag match with those two. Um, I'm not gonna lie, Final Boss. If that was me, if I had a pin, I know a lot of people want him and his brother to get back together, but I would team those two up. What you think about that? And how would you fantasy book New Day?
Yeah, so first things first. Um, yes, the crowd was cheering for Austin Theory, but it's been said that yesterday's crowd was the most hypest crowd of the entire year, and they were in South
Really?
Carolina. So they was just cheering people, just cheering people. So I don't think
Well,
he's
well,
gonna
is
get
it
cheered in the
well
next
South
town.
Carolina? Yes, that
Yeah.
that comes a lot for them. Yeah.
But so I would take that as a one off for Austin Theory because Austin Theory hasn't been the same in a number of years now. But the
Hmm.
fact that they are moving with something with him and Grayson, um, maybe it's going to be a new leash for him. Now, if they do go ahead and we are fantasy booking and they put Grayson Waller with the New Day, I don't see how it really fits in with them. Because the New Day, yeah, they're heels, but Grayson Waller is kind of like more on the mysterious side, unless
Mm-hmm.
they do a refresh of him. Maybe they can make him not so much of the guy that's teaming with, Xavier or teaming with Woods, but the guy who comes out there in their corner and kind of slowly put him in. They can kind of do that. He'd be more of like the enforcer role on the outside of the ring. You know, when Kofi Kingston and Xavier have these matches, and they slowly work him in, and then you'll have him team with Kofi, and they have him team with Woods. I mean, hey, I gotta see it. I gotta see it right now. Because right now I'm not too keen on it. I'm not gonna lie. But we obviously are not getting Big E, so we might as well go ahead and move on and put somebody else in there. Put that third man in there. They had a third man. That man got tied up in something else legally, so it didn't go too far. So now we're finding somebody else to kind of replace that void that we lost with Big E. Is Grayson Waller it right now for me? No, not at least with them. But hey, maybe they can make it work. Now, what do we do with Theory? Maybe to put him back into that picture again. I think Theory will be really great eventually down the road as an opponent for someone like Logan Paul, or at least for him to be back in the mid card um, division for like for a title, USA Championship, IC Championship. I can see that happening. Maybe they could have him do something maybe with Carmelo Hayes. I feel like that's more of his speed. Um, Hell, maybe they might. Well, I think Carmelo and Miz are gonna be breaking up very soon. It's on my fantasy book. But if they choose to not do that, they could add Austin Theory with Aus Him, which is the Miz and Carmelo Hayes maybe. So because that I think that's more of what he feels like he should be at least right now. That they want to get wild, maybe they can put him with LA Knight, but I don't think LA Knight needs anybody. He's good by himself. But those are people I can see him with. Those are more of his speed. Um, but like I said on a post, someone asked me, "What's your current favorite tag team?" And I drew a blank because I don't have one. We got to build up. Yeah, right now it's
Oh,
the
right
Pitbull.
now. Okay,
Right
right now.
now, current. That's the
Okay.
key word. Current favorite tag team currently.
Mm-hmm.
Drew a blank. So that just shows you we need to go ahead and work on these tag teams. Like New Day, they're great. They've been great for like 20 years. But they haven't been the same since they lost Big E. It doesn't hit the same.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not new now, but even with the heel change, even with the new music, even with Xavier Woods' new mohawk hairstyle he got going on, it still doesn't hit the same. So maybe they need to have something a little bit more fresh. Because remember, when they came out with this heel turn, it was fresh. We were excited, and then it kind of fell behind because we didn't have Big E, but they kept trying to refresh it, give them new music, give Xavier a new look, have them do some things backstage, do things with with their family, in the crowd, and it kind of gave an interest, but it kind of fell back. So maybe with this third person, which as we think is gonna be Grayson
Grayson.
Waller.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it'll give us some new eyes again. Maybe they can be that threatening tag team again. Because you really feel like New Day's a threat when they come out for a match now? No, I haven't felt them be a threat since Big E left. I'm gonna be honest with you, even with them turning heel. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, when they come out there, I just assume that they're gonna lose, or not that they're not great, but that they're going to lose. They haven't built up at all, not for a long time. So I feel like with them adding somebody new, even if it's not Waller, even someone else, it'll give them some new direction and put them back into the picture. Because then we can see them go against newer form tag teams. What that's going to be, who knows? But definitely maybe someone like Street Profits. If your fantasy booking is where they're going to go with Penta and AJ Styles, going against someone like that. going against, DIY, going against some of these other tactics. Granted, these are SmackDown superstars, but they don't care about that anymore. They're just swapping back and forwards. So, I mean, they can go ahead and do things like that for Axiom. So that's where we are. But like again, I gotta see it to believe it. I am not too excited about it, but if I see it and it works out fine, then sign me up.
Now, John said something I did not think about, Final Boss. He was like, if you want to go the powerhouse route, go with the New Day. Why not over Family? And I was like, oh my God, that'll be crazy because overs that I would say quite might be that same kind of powerhouse type as Big E. Um, man, I guess he has over maybe dropping it at Battleground and coming on Raw and joining New Day, being a heel. But over, so he's good on the mic already. I feel like he's such a star. He'll be the new guy. He'll be the young guy with the old vets. So that will be interesting to see the direction they want to go with that. Um, over and New Day. What's your thoughts? And we'll move on to our next topic. What's your thoughts on that when John said about Over Femi joining the New Day?
So a couple of things. Did it mean too big of a star or too big of an athlete? Because they did have.
Well, when it comes to Over Final Boss, he's good as an athlete and star. I mean, because I don't know if you've seen the article Shawn Michaels put out. He said when he said it's two big people in NXT, it's Trick Williams and Over Femi. He said those are his big two, and that's with Ricky Start and Ricky Start and them down there. Even Sean even down there, Mister 10 Tyler Breeze. Even him, they're down there, and Shawn Michaels still said if he had to have a pick, it would be Trick and Over. He said it's a toss up between those two. So over, and the crowd loves him. He has not made an appearance yet on the main roster. I remember when Trick made his first one, and the crowd went crazy on SmackDown. He came out and saved Carmelo Hayes, and I was like, they should have pulled the trigger back then, Final Boss, with Trick Williams. I think they waited too long, but with Over, I mean, bringing him up with New Day, it'll be kind of that new guy. What you said, new guy with the vets, sort of like how you said with Randy and Batista. So I think for both for me, Final Boss. That's just my theory.
Okay. I mean, here's the thing: is that if you're saying he's too big of an athlete, well, they had Big E, and Big E was short but huge. They had the other guy, which I don't remember his name, the one who got tied up in some legal stuff. He
I
was
think it's Osmus Jones. I think that was his name. I think so.
great. Yeah, I remember there was a Jones in there, but yeah,
I
he was
remember
a big guy.
so.
Now, as far as being big star power wise, well, there was a time when New Day, they were like the longest tag team champions.
Yes.
So, and these, like New Day was unstoppable at one time. So, I mean, saying that Oba's too big of a star, again, remember they had big guys before, and they were one of the best tag teams back in the day. Unfortunately, again, they lost Big E. So they kind of fell from that, but these are people who are pretty big. These are not just even big as far as being one of the best tag teams and the longest tag team champions, but also as far as merch sales, that Bootio stuff and the pancakes and the unicorn, that stuff
Mhm.
went crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely
They sold.
crazy.
Yeah.
Even when they had up down down before WWE
Mhm.
pulled it, it was huge. So but the whole question, like I asked before we talked about Grayson Waller, was how do we get them being back to that caliber? How do we get them back to being big like that?
I
Maybe
think
the answer is putting a bigger star like
I think
Obafemi
yeah, over
with
Femi,
them.
over. I feel like maybe over could do that if you because one he's
Oh,
new,
Odyssey Jones.
and he's young. Yeah, Odyssey Jones. I forgot I said his name
Odyssey
right.
Jones. Okay.
Yeah. I feel like Over final balls. I feel like Over can be the guy that you can bring in. He's young. Um, you don't quite see that 2 minute offense. Seems like they're going back to that format where they're putting these younger guys with back with the vets, as you can see with Breaker and Seth Rollins. Maybe you can do this with New Day, and I feel like that can give New Day that new, because it seems like I would say something's missing, Final Balls, but I don't know. It's just it's like a key part where you can add something to them, and I feel like he could be that part to add in that group when it comes to that. You got any last thoughts, and we'll move on to our next fantasy booking topic.
I don't. But where do you think they would put Austin Theory without Grayson Waller?
Well, I feel like they're probably going to just try to give him another single run. They'll try to probably build him up. He's already got too old, so you can't get that young. Well, he's still young, but he can't hit that youngest champion no more because that's gone. That window's gone. So he's past the age of being the youngest. But I think him and Dominic are like the same age. I think they're like 28 around there. So I think him and Dom are like the same age. He's still young, but he missed the window because Randy was young. So that window was missed. I feel like they missed the opportunity to do that. Um, I don't know, Final Boss. If it was me and the way the crowd cheered, I would do the turn now when it comes to Austin Theory. I'll just let Grayson. I will make Grayson, him and New Day, if they're going to go that direction, be down Austin, and you got another baby face because we're going to get into my thoughts about Judgment Day and the whole thing with Dominic. I feel like they're going to go a whole tilt a different direction with that, but I feel like that's what you can do, and you just give Austin a push because I feel like we need some baby faces for the first time ever. It seems like the perfect time for Cody to not turn heels now because you got a lot of heels now. It would have been perfect for him to face all these guys, but they didn't have a lot of a lot of people. I like that idea that you just put up there with for Greg. He said he thinks about putting Trick Williams with New Day or over Fenvy. I didn't think about that either. Now Trick, I can see that happening. Final Boss Trick has that I would say that character that can probably gel with New Day. Only reason why I didn't say over because his character's so different, but Trick, I can see that. I feel like Trick can feed off of New Day and fit well in that group. He could be a great piece to the New Day Final Boss. I did not think about Trick Williams, but yes, that would be great. One, and that would be great for Trick because he's on SmackDown. He's nowhere near around Carmelo Hayes, and I think the crowd will love it. You got any last thoughts? She might don't hear me.
I hear you. But no, I don't.
Okay.
But I can definitely see Trick being in a New Day. I think I can kind of see him fit in that mold.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I wish they would have done that back when they decided, well, Big E's not gonna play a role. Let's move somebody in quickly. Which they did. They moved in Odyssey Jones, but
Mm-hmm.
even that was it wasn't close enough. They could have did
Mm-hmm.
something right after they had that anniversary. If they knew they weren't going with Big E, that storyline is dead now. Like it's so dead, it's dead, right? It's more dead than Rock coming back. But
Oh, we
unfortunately,
go. Oh, we gonna get
um,
into that.
okay. But they should have put somebody else, and if they would have did that with Trick right when they were like, oh my god, like it was getting hot because we had this heel turn, and they would have put Trick in there and kind of worked that in creative wise, it
Mm-hmm.
would have been big. But now I feel like it's a little bit too late.
Too
The
late.
only thing is that they are working on evolving them. like look at the new look that Xavier has. Look at what they've been doing. You've been seeing them backstage. You've been seeing them with Grayson. They had the whole spiel with Kobe Kingston and his family, so they was doing things to make them relevant. So there is a little bit of a chance they can still turn around, but they should have been put a move onto this. Like they've waited so long. But we'll see. But the reality is that we're really gonna think it's gonna probably be something with Grayson Waller because if it's not, why is he even near? Why is he even near?
Yeah.
Because last time somebody was near somebody, well, you saw how that turned out on Monday with Judgment Day. So, but yeah, that's all I have on New Day fantasy booking.
Speaking of New Day, let's go ahead and fantasy book them. I'm gonna give my thoughts. Final balls. Now, the direction we got here, I want to paint the picture for our viewers here. Is they've been keeping Dominic in the back for some time, and you had some cheating going on with them. So you had like some cheating going on with Judgment Day. Um, what's your thoughts on with when it comes to Judgment Day? I feel like when for me when it comes to the JD group, I feel like they could have been. I see this playing out a lot of different ways. I see this playing out a lot of different ways. I see them playing this out where they can either go two different ways because now you presented Roxanne into this group, and when with Roxanne in the group, you got Liv Morgan where you had Raquel saying that she what when are we gonna tell Liv? Even Dominic said it, and she said I had gifts, but I noticed Final Boss that the only two people she gave gifts to was Carlito and Dominic. This is where I was talking. Me and Greg, we was trying to book this, and you can go two different ways with this. You can go where you can put um Raquel, Finn, and JD all together, and you could put Liv, Rhea, Raquel, and Liv together. You kind of do the same storyline where you remember how they did the Liv Dunn thing. This time, you get Dominic to choose Liv. Because remember, Dominic's getting cheered. You don't want to turn Dominic back face. So they're making us think, the way they're making us think that Dominic's going to do the same thing we're going the same route as we did with Rhea Ripley. Remember, Rhea was gone. She wasn't there for some time. Liv stepped in, kept bringing him gifts, trying to seduce him, do all these things to him. And next thing you know, we got the Liv Dunn storyline. I feel like we're going to still do that, Final Balls, but we're Dominic's going to still do the resist thing. And when we get to a certain point, Dom is going to choose Liv over Raquel, and that's how you get this breakup with JD, the Judgment Day. Or you let Dominic be his dad's, he's his father's son, be the Eddie Guerrero he got in him. He got the Eddie Guerrero blood in him, and just be a ladies' man and go with Roxanne, and you team him up with him and Roxanne, and you get just a Judgment Day. It'd be probably Finn, Dominic, Roxanne, and that's it, and maybe JD on this booking. I can only see it going two ways. I feel like the best way they can go with it, Final Boss, if it was me, is they do Dominic. You think he's gonna go with Roxanne, but he chooses Liv, and this is how you get her to be face, because they have not been having Dominic out there when it comes to them Judgment Day cheating or anything, because he's getting cheered. He's getting cheered. He's now technically he's a face. So if you turn to him heel now, it wouldn't make sense to me. So what you think?
Yeah. So, we've seen segments where Finn was in the back with Roxanne.
Mm-hmm.
And we really thought they were doing something, but then it kind of went away, and then she wasn't really on the main roster anymore. And then we officially got that she's officially signed full time, and then we got this whole new angle. So now it all kind of um, plays back into the segments we saw with Finn and Roxanne talking backstage. Like, we didn't know what they were talking about. We just saw them together. So, I mean, here's the thing. So it's either we can have another, basically, instead of having Liv and Rhea, we're having a Liv and a Roxanne. We're having a Rox Dom, or they can go ahead and completely change it and have Finn and Roxanne, and have Dominic and Liv, and they're power struggling each other. Like, they'll have Roxanne in the Judgment Day, and they're having dissension between her and Liv, and then it just becomes a whole battle of the couple, like, where they're all in there all together, but it's dissension, and eventually that leads up to your split. And then you have people pick sides. You have people like JD and
Carlito.
Carlito and Raquel pick sides. So they can do a lot. They can do a lot in between that, or they can go a whole different direction. And when Liv comes back, she's pissed off, completely pissed off, even at the idea. And then you'll have Roxanne and Dom be together, and it's not even Finn at all. Or you can you can
was
even
thinking
swap that back, because at one point there was teases early on in the Judgment Day where it was Liv really working with Finn. We had those teases about the
Mm-hmm.
hotel key, so they can
Mm-hmm.
do a complete swap. They can have Liv go with Finn, and have
Mm-hmm.
Roxanne go with Dom. I mean, there's so many different ways they can go ahead and swap that out. I hope that the end goal of it is that there'll be two teams. How they disperse that, who knows? But I assume the goal is to have two teams. This is probably the first time people have been interested in Judgment Day in quite some time, because they've been teasing this breakup, but now we have a whole different element. Remember, the idea that that came up with Dom was to have a different member to help them come in,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
now Finn can say, "Oh, I'm taking your idea that Liv is shooting a movie. I brought somebody in."
Well, that's what he said. He actually said that yesterday. He actually
Right.
said that. He
But
broke
they
it up.
didn't think it was going to be someone like Roxanne. They thought maybe more something like a powerhouse or something. But instead,
Mm-hmm.
it's her. And like you mentioned, she bought gifts for Dominic, which was, well, it wasn't even tender. They were chicken nuggets. So come
Chicken
on,
nugget.
Roxanne. Like,
They,
what are we doing here? He's supposed to be a chicken tender
well,
slut, and she
well,
bought him.
yeah, yeah.
She bought him nuggets.
You give
But
Dominic some chicken tenders. He rolling on you. That's all it takes. He give him some tenders. He done. He just done. He going with the flow. Jesus Christ.
but I mean, would you be excited for a Rox Dom and a Rox Dom and a Liv Finn?
I well, we did that story, and my thing is this now. Final boss
Mm.
is Roxanne is such good as a good heel. You got at WrestleMania. I'm pretty sure they did not plan this. It was unplanned. The crowd cheered for Dominic. He ran back to the ring, and he got the biggest pop ever. He's getting cheered. So you're gonna turn Dominic back heel again? Yes, Lena. Greg has. At this point, we have gave up on not knowing what we're gonna do because we found out yesterday. Well, this morning, Final Boss, that Shawn Michaels is the one that's writing this story. So me, like I said, me and Greg was like, "What are we doing?" Because we had this book. The way me and Greg had this book, we had Roxanne coming later. We didn't have her coming this early, but Finn said something, a key thing yesterday, Final Boss, and I don't know if you caught it. He was saying that Liv was not even in the Judgment Day, and I was like, "Huh?" I'm like, "How?" And I'm like, he's like, "Welcome the new member to the Judgment Day." He was like, "Roxanne." Then when Dominic and Raquel was kind of trying to say, "Hey, let's go to Liv, let's see what she says first," he said, "No, no, no. She'll be just here to help us out. It's not no quick in. Sometimes we need help. You never know." He kind of dialed down on it to make it look like he just put the idea out there. And what I'm assuming is like, and then me and Greg said, I said to Greg too, this morning, the same thing you said was, we can go back to the Finn battle thing. You still got the key. You still have when Liv and Finn got the out the car together. We have never went back to that. Remember, Triple H and Shawn Michaels, they love doing long term storytelling. We can go back to that, and people will say, "Oh, we went back to that." But my thing is this: all you're doing is turning Dominant back heel. I'm guessing, because who's going to be the heel? Is it going to be, if you're going to do Liv and Finn? I feel like they should be heels, but also if we're going to do Dominic and Roxanne, I feel like they could be heels too. If it was me, Final Boss, I would not break up Dominic and Liv because it seems like they have good chemistry. I don't know if the chemistry is going to be there with Roxanne because Liv has already put that groundwork in, and everyone's going to shame her on the IWC and say, "Hey, you're nothing but doing nothing but copying what happened with Liv Morgan." But I did see a tweet from yesterday where Kendall was like, "Hey, Raquel, y'all was wishing Raquel to get her, I mean Rhea Ripley to get her little dues in from what happened with her and Dominic. It's Liv's turn because Liv did do this to Dominic, and now go around, here comes Raquel. You, like I say, you making this dude Dominic as the Eddie Guerrero, and he just go to female. I think the last woman he'll be with after all this is said and done is Trish Stratus, because he loves Trish Stratus. That was one of his people he really really loved as a
Trish Stratus
kid.
is not coming. She's on a Legends deal. She is not coming back unless they do
Well,
the
she
ball.
might. Well, you probably can just bring her in. I wouldn't say a match, maybe like a little one, a couple, like a little segment. She did something with Zoe Stark for a while. She came for the Royal Rumble. I'm just throwing something out there. Like I said, we're just fantasy booking here, but I don't know who. If we go that direction with Liv and Finn, I'm not gonna lie, Final Boss. It would be very very interesting. Like you said, we're going to be buried back into the story of what's going on with the Judgment Day. What direction are we going? What are we going to do? Who's the heel? Who's the face? Like I said, if it was me, I would keep Liv and Dom together. That's just me and Raquel, and do like you said, just the groups. That's what I would do. So I mean, other than that, what you have any last thoughts?
Yeah. So yes, not Dom, Finn did say that, hey, Roxanne is not a member. She just kind of here, in case we need a little bit of backup. But that's part of the story, right? So the whole idea, I assume, where I would go, where they're trying to go, is you have Roxanne kind of floating around in the back, getting involved with matches just as Liv would. and kind of proving herself that I can be a member. And then you have Liv, who is not going forward, but you have the other members, like Finn, maybe Dom, maybe JD, or maybe Carlito, but probably usually uh, Finn and Dom saying, "Look, Liv, she's showing that she's showing that she's here for us. You know, she was helping us when you were out there shooting a movie. You know, she can help you and Raquel do other things." So that's kind of the tease. The tease is that she's not there yet, but she's fighting her way to get in between, maybe between Liv and Dom, and then between the entire group as a whole. That's your tease. That you're gonna see those segments where she kind of pops in. I won't be surprised. You'll have them backstage in their little clubhouse, and then you'll have Roxanne come with her like very girlish little heel like panter that she does and say, "Oh, hey guys, I got you guys some more gifts this time. You see the other gift I got you? You know, that's why Dom, you know, you're still champion. You know, where was Liv? You know, that's kind of what they're, you know, gonna go with, you know, I assume. You know, so I like that idea. It's not her being in there right now, but it's the idea. And you have Raquel, who is just really not having it, saying she's gonna tell, you know, she's gonna tell Liv. But I mean, what really is her role? I mean, can she actually turn on Liv and be on the side of Roxanne? There's so many different things that they have. They've opened really Pandora's box on this now, because there's so many different ways it can go. And I've noticed that a lot now with a lot of the recent storylines, is that they've opened up these boxes where these storylines can kind of go on forever or go different ways and different avenues. So I like that they're having the endless possibilities, and I'm actually interested. I'm very interested about how things are going to go in the next couple of weeks, and where things are going to really go once Liv comes back. Because you know, you said they did the whole thing with Rhea and Liv and Dom, and it didn't really go anywhere. Well, it kind of did, because you had Rhea going with Damian Priest for a little while. They were together. They were Terror Twins, but nothing came of that. But I think it's just because of how she was put back into the story. Like, she came back, you know, I'm here for Liv, I'm here for Dom. Dom didn't want you, you know, he wanted Liv, and then the story's done. But now you have the slow progression of Roxanne when she's not in it. So have her go into the group, and then have her kind of move things around within the group, and they'll fit a lot better, which technically should have been how Liv was. They should have brought that out a little bit longer and kind of have her work her way into the group. But I guess the idea they're really going for is that they wanted her to be in there before Rhea got back, and then have Rhea come back and be mad. They didn't slow it. This time they learned it. So you have someone out, like how Rhea was. Well, now Liv's out. Of course, Liv is just out, just doing a movie, but she's out, and now they're slowly bringing Roxanne in. They're not doing the rush back like they did with Rhea. Have her just come back, get mad, get pissed off, and that they learn from that mistake. So they're really trying it again. They're doing it round two. So I ain't gonna lie, I am pretty excited to see this story, and I'm not even a JD fan, and I'm excited to see it. So that just shows you how they can gain your interest in some of these storylines.
Yeah, I'm gonna give my last thoughts. I've been seeing a lot of people saying that Dominic's gonna live for Raquel. I seen people been saying that so much. With him going with Raquel and choosing Raquel, I think people want that more than anything, which is very interesting. I seen the trend that you said, Dom rocks. It trended quickly, caught on quickly, and I was like, oh my god. And I'm like, and like I say, me being the person that I love booking, I was looking at this as, well, I guess we're going to just turn Dominic heel. We're just going to keep him heel when you got him over as a face. And I thought Triple H, that's why the reason you didn't bring him out of the ring when Judgment Day was doing all this cheating, was to keep him from the crowd from booing him. And if you do this, I think there will be no choice but to turn Liv and Finn face, because I think people are going to go back and boo Dominic because he left Liv. Liv was his girl. You have a lot of Liv Dom fans that love this duo together. They was like the Bonnie and Clyde. I'm hoping that's the direction we go with it, and we stay with that dynamic duo. You got any last thoughts, Final Boss, and we'll move on to our next fantasy booking topic.
No, I mean, like I said, I just want to see, where it goes. I can't wait to see when Liv comes back and how everything plays out, and the build up until when Liv comes back.
Okay. Let's get into it. Talk it up. Let's talk it up about the fantasy booking about Solo and Jacob, and also I guess this will bleed into a little bloodline theories we might have. Um, when it comes to this, you got I'm gonna still call him Jeff Cobbs because I feel like that's a better name than what they gave him. Um, he's now new. It was interesting. He's included into this group. He's always looking at I don't know if you caught where he was looking at Jacob's United States title when he held it up this past Friday. Um, I feel like you can go a lot of different ways with Solo and Jacob. The turn is coming. When is it coming? I say maybe Money in the Bank when it will maybe come. For me, I feel like if you're going to do this turn, this what I would do. You give Solo because I just we just learned this. We seen Brunson Reed. If you follow him, he did say that he's coming back quickly, and he'll be back on the he's back on the road of recovery. And I think what this is that you give Brunson Reed, you put him back with Solo, and you just give Solo this whole new team. You bring back the Tonga twins. You bring back all these people, and you build these people back around Solo. Solo. But before they come back, either Bronson Reed, when he comes, they jump Jacob. You get him and Cobbs. Like I say, you build these guys who are big guys, and you beat up Jacob and bring Jacob in and beat make Jacob maybe go search for Jimmy, Jay, or even Roman. You let him go face. You give Solo this new team to build up, and that's where you go with him. Yeah, I feel like Jacob Fatu will go is going to turn. Well, I don't. I think it will be Solo because you want to. If the way it seems like they've been doing it is, it seems like to me they want to put Solo as the Jacob as the face and Solo as the heel because Solo does a great work as a heel. You can tell many stories with these two. From what I found out, this is how you can get Jacob on Raw because I did not know that Jacob and 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 um and Solo was both trained by Rikishi. And I was like, oh my goodness, if Jacob and Jacob and Rusev both get into a match, what a great match that will be. How crazy that will be with those two gladiators that has been trained by that same trainer going at it. But if it was me, Final Boss, what I would do the turn is Money in the Bank. Maybe yes, if Brunson Reed is really coming, you bring Brunson Reed back at Money in the Bank, and y'all just do the turn then. Him and Cobbs just go to town on Jacob. It finally keeps Jacob down because remember, we never seen Jacob get beat. Beat down. Only time we seen Jacob go down, he'll get back up is from one guy. We never seen him get beat up by two guys. These are two big guys. That's why I say you get him and Cobbs both go at Jacob and you beat him down. Now, I wouldn't have him lose just yet. It depends on who they have him facing. I won't have him lose, but I would do the turn. Where I would have Jacob lose is to Solo. That's if Solo doesn't win the briefcase. Now, Solo, let's do this another way. We can do this a different way. Solo can win the briefcase, and Jacob has to fall back in line. He has to fall back in line because the one key thing he said is to Cody when Cody had that title is that title has to come back to the family. Guess who has the briefcase? It's most likely a guarantee, even though we have seen a failed cash in from many people, but we don't know. The possibility is sometimes yes, sometimes no. And I feel like if you have Solo win the briefcase, Jacob has to fall back in, and that will be interesting to me because Jacob is resisting it. He's like, man, he's got to make this choice of I got to do this for the family because now he has the opportunity to get that title back, or you can have even Solo loses at Money in the Bank, and you can do the Solo versus Jacob at the United States title. That's just my thoughts, Final Boss. What's your thoughts about when it comes to this Solo and Jacob, and just any theories when it comes to the Bloodline story?
Yeah, so it's so funny how, just a couple of weeks ago, we were like, man, it's so over for Solo. He's fallen down so hard. He's a cheerleader now. He's the second person to Jacob. And they
Mm-hmm.
brought in JC Mateo or JC or Jeff Cobb. Um, and now we're back on him now. We're back seeing Solo being that original character when Roman lost his title. He's now being that same type of energy. So to me, that's wild. I don't like the idea of them having these two separate groups now because they already did it. They did it with Roman. Roman went
Mm-hmm.
back to the original bloodline with the Usos, and you had Bloodline 2.0. So if they go ahead and have two different groups, Solo has his group and Jacob has his group. It's like part two. Now, can they do it? Yes. But what's up with all the part twos? We're getting a part two Liv Dom story right now with Roxanne and
Mm-hmm.
and Finn Balor. So we're gonna have a part two Bloodline story now with Jacob and Solo.
Mm.
I mean, so that's here we go again. With this similarity things again. Same thing like how we had Becky and John Cena, which we're gonna talk about that later. I forgot about that because we heard a weird line in there yesterday for Becky.
Mm.
But kind of the same thing. But going back, to the solo JC Mateo, um, I don't want Bronson Reed to come back and say, unless they're really gonna go with having two separate teams, keep Bronson Reed out of it. I mean, I feel like where they're at right now is good enough. They already have all these people in there. They have Jacob, they have Solo, they have JC Mateo, and then Tonga's. Once they're better, you're gonna have two guys come in. From that. So we're already at like 5 people. I mean,
Well,
how many
I think that's where we're going to go. We're going to go to different
to
teams.
have
That's
two
why it's
separate teams
yes.
again?
I think so.
See, but that's my fantasy books. This is why it's just fantasy. Because my whole fantasy book is that you won't have two teams. What you really have is you really have everyone turn on Solo. They just kick them out.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you have Solo as so you got Solo turning face
Solo is
instead
gonna
of
be Solo is gonna be what happened to Roman. Like where Roman lost
wow.
everything. It's now Solo's
Mm,
time to lose everything because he's gonna
mm,
lose. Yep, because he's gonna lose Jacob to JC Mateo. And then when the Tonga Tens, well, one of them is injured, the other one's out. I guess because one of them was injured. I guess that's
yeah.
what they do tag team.
It's almost probably time for
But
them to
when
come back.
but when they are ready to come back, they have the full squad again, the full bloodline again, and then you'll have Solo on the outside, and you'll have Jacob pretty much saying he's a leader, and then you'll have Jacob saying, really Jacob is like the new Solo, and then the new Jacob is JC. So, and they just kind of push Solo out, and they really want to go ahead and twist it. They can, and if Roman is, Roman has a story with, Seth and everything. But if they don't want to do that and they're waiting, because right now, Seth, they're having, different things with Punk and Sammy. So if they want to kind of hold off on that, because here we go, once again, is we could have all these different storylines. You got to finish one. But if they're not going to finish that story um, with Roman and Paul and Seth and everything now, which they're probably not, because what has happened since Roman has been gone, because now we have the return of Punk, and now we have Sami Zayn back into there, and it's like Roman is like a whole other person. There's too many people involved with it now, so they want to go ahead and either finish that story with Roman or put that on hold for Roman and have Sammy and all them kind of go through a story and have Roman return back and maybe side with Solo now.
So you're having Solo go back with Roman. That's what you're saying.
Right. And you're gonna have Solo and Roman, and then you're gonna have Jacob and his group.
Mm,
Right, because we're pretty much having that whole story all over again. Remember, losing has consequences. You
mm.
know, yep, and look who
And
won
then
the
you do got that story where he said if um if Roman won back to Udafala, he did tell one of the Tongas we will have to acknowledge him. So that is a
I
story
mean,
that
that's if they bring that up. I think they don't do the follow. Like, but let's just because we haven't heard anything about it since he
yeah.
got it back from the Rock, unfortunately. But I mean, they could bring it back up. But the whole thing can be the person that won the title. It wasn't Solo. He didn't win those opportunities. Jacob did. So what happens?
Hmm.
Losing has consequences. So
Hmm.
Jacob pushes him out. Now you have Solo who has lost, and you have Roman who has lost when he lost his title. So now
Mm,
they reconcile, and then they can do something now. So that's kind of what they can do. That again, that's if we're putting Roman away from Seth in that storyline, which I feel like they are, because again they brought Sammy into it now, and now the whole story is this Sammy going to turn? So we have all these little pieces now. Um, and then they can mix Jay in there if it gives, I mean, not Jay, it gives Jimmy a place for him to go, because Jimmy is kind of lost. So
mm,
really, they could have Solo, Roman, and now Jimmy. You want to know
mm,
why that can be a story that they go to, because look at what Jay's doing. Jay has a title, so who is that losing has consequences, just like Roman and Solo. It's Jimmy,
mm,
because Jimmy didn't win a title. So that's kind of where they have basically the consequences. I don't want to say losers because they're not losers, but you have the consequences, which is
mm,
your Jimmy, your Solo, your Roman, and then you have the other side, your winners, which is gonna be your Jacob who's running it. Got the new guy JC. I guess you could have Tongues, even though they didn't win nothing, but I guess they could put him in there just for fun. Jay, whenever he loses the title, depending on how long he holds it, there you go. That's his next story. Whenever he loses that title, because losing has consequences. So he'll go ahead and he'll join where he'll join it with his brother Jimmy, because he lost the title. So now he's back with Jimmy. He's with Solo. He's with Roman. It's basically the original, all back all over again. It's a different way to get there.
do you have and now I wanted to ask you this question because now we learned that Solo has qualified for Money in the Bank. Do you got any booking on if he did win the briefcase? Did you give any thought about if Solo did win the briefcase of a booking point for Solo?
So if they are going with my booking, you have Solo lose. Is either he loses at Money in
Oh,
the
he lo-
Bank.
Oh, he
Well,
lose. Oh, okay. You don't got him,
it could be either way. Either he loses that money in the bank, or he
or he has a
wins
failed
and
cash
he has a
in.
failed cash in,
Oh
and
my
then that's your consequences now. That's your consequences. Because remember, who was there when they said losing has consequences? Who was
God.
there? Jacob was there.
Final Boss Baby, we've been on such a great roll with people. Well, no, I take that back.
Well,
I
honestly,
forgot
I
about Drew
mean,
McIntyre. I forgot about Drew McIntyre. He had a failed one. My bad. So you're
I mean,
right. It can happen. I forgot about Drew McIntyre.
we also had Baron Corbin too. Remember, John Cena
Well,
messed
that
that
was
up.
no. I'm saying not those ones. I'm
Oh,
saying recently we had some good successful ones because I think after that because a lot of people was losing. I know Priest had a good one.
mhm.
I think Big
Seth had
E,
like the
yeah,
best one. He had like the best
yeah,
cash.
yeah. Big E had
He had the
I
biggest
think
heist.
yeah. Big E had a successful one. I think people was getting some successful ones. I think the last person that lost for quite some time has been Drew. But I understood. I just wish that match they let Jay won. I think that's where everyone says we missed the opportunity of Wonder. Where I think Jay moment was right there. He should have won the briefcase then, but I understood why they did it because they wanted to get to the CM Punk and Drew match. You had to tell the story some kind of way to get us there. So booking wise, I understand it. My thing is this: if you have Solo lose the briefcase, final boss, yes, you go that angle. That will be
Mm.
great. That will give that cinematic moment for this story where we're back invested into the match of the bloodline.
But that's if Solo wins Money in the Bank, and
Yes,
and
yes.
that's when how long is he gonna hold that briefcase?
If it was me,
So
and I'm not gonna lie to you, final boss, and this might be a wild theory. If you want to throw that, since we're fantasy booking, I would have him hold it past WrestleMania, and I would have him cash
wow.
it. Try to yes, I would have because remember it's a whole year.
Mm-hmm.
He can hold that all the way up to the next PLE. I would
Mm-hmm.
have him do it after WrestleMania. It will sort of be like a Dolph Ziggler moment if you remember. It'll be just like that.
Mm.
It depends on it depends on how it goes because it give him
And
time.
for what title?
I don't know. It depends on
I would
who's all
put
champion
I
at that
would
time.
put him for Jay's title.
We'll see. It depends on who have the title
It
at the time.
depends on who has John Cena's title, but depending.
Let's say if Roman has J title, will you have Solo try
Well,
to
I don't
catch
think that's
in
happening.
Roman?
That's not on the card. That's not happening. But I would say if they were to let Jay hold that title,
Mm-hmm.
the same one he has now,
Mm-hmm.
and then they have Solo beat him, that's still a story because now you have losing has consequences because now you'll have Jay go with Roman and Jimmy, but that kind of doesn't make sense because now Solo is your winner. He's not going to go back with, so that's kind of the issue. But it depends. Now if he wants to go for John Cena's title, well, we don't know who's going to be the champion by then because Cena will be
One if they
gone.
put it
It
back
may be
on
Cody. It
Cody.
may be
If they
someone
put it
else.
back if they put it back on Cody, would you have Solo cash in on Cody? Because there's a story. Remember, Solo took on
Um,
Cody quite a lot and kept losing. There's a story there too.
man, I feel like, but then are you going to have Cody play back into the story again? Now we're back doing this 2.0 now.
I
I
mean,
mean, see, this is a problem. So I mean, if they were to go ahead and so that's why I mean I say for my booking, you can't have Solo's not winning him in the bank
yeah.
because that puts him into Luther has consequences.
That
He had a
The
big
failed
chance,
testing
and there we
is
go.
great. That I think you haven't win it, and I hate to say it, but if you want to really tell a story, if he fails Final Boss, my God, that's the way you can get everyone turn on him, and he has no choice but to go back to Roman. Like I said, that can get us back interested.
And I would
That's
say
the way
the
you can
good
build
measure is
Solo.
that if Solo loses, whether it be him losing at Money in the Bank, which I say is the best option, or him having a failed cash in, or even if he has a great cash in and then he loses the title like Roman did, 'cause that's still you losing. They do the same thing they did to Paul Heyman. They put him through the announcer table.
Wow.
They put Solo through that announcer table. They'll do that same thing.
Because like I say, we're talking about a whole year. If he won it a whole
But
year.
here's the thing, is that I don't want it to go for a year because remember, we only got 2 left with Roman. That's gonna kill his year. So they can kind of move things along. I mean, again, they can have him win Money in the Bank, cash in, and actually win the title, but then he's gonna lose that title, and that's where you can kind of play back into that because, like Roman had a title, he finally lost after 4 years. So, and but in Solo's eyes, he still lost, which is crazy because it's like, well, you want to keep it forever until the man retires. So, but they can still run that if you really want that. But I say if Solo is gonna have a title, let him have Jay's title. I don't feel like, and Jay might not even be champion by the time Solo gets it. It can be months and months down the line. But I say, have him go for that title because they can do other things with John Cena's title once he leaves because because I don't think they are, because remember the whole story is that he's going to ruin wrestling. He's going to retire with the title. So there's different things with that, and they can kind of play into that where they have somebody come in and saying that they're gonna erase what John Cena did, even though John Cena's gone, and kind of build up that whole story like without John Cena being there, with him being retired, and kind of like twist that around. So I say leave that alone because that's a story. That's a story on itself.
If you have him going for the world title, do you still have him fail cash in? That's my question. Do you still have him failing? Because I know you said the undisputed title.
Well,
it makes sense for
he doesn't have to. He can cash in and win, and then he'll lose it eventually. That's still part of booking, is that he lost the title. Losing has consequences. Oh, wait. So someone wants me to book Adam Pearce. Well, Adam Pearce is going to be your champion. We're going to have him have.
That's somebody who'll be on your page.
We are going to have him fight against Jay, because why not? Because you had Pat McAfee face Gunther, the former champion.
Why not
have Adam Pearce face Jay and have him win and have him be the champion. And he's gonna say, he's the GM and the champion.
Lord,
and he's gonna put him and he's gonna do exactly what Cody did on AEW and be in all the main matches. He'll come out there with the suit and everything. Hell, those who love Cody, go ahead and have Cody come out there with him in the suit. Or if you don't want Cody like me, have him come out there with Braun Breaker, and he could be wearing a suit, and they can all work for Adam Pearce. There you go.
Let's get our next booking, which will be about Logan, Jay, Gunther, Seth, the fantasy booking of the things that are going on with them. And Final Boss, I know this is your husband, and I know you said that these things may not be connected anymore when it comes to the trailers and stuff, but I'm sorry, Final Boss. The Rock is coming. He's coming. Because this has been the second tease when it came to Seth Rollins and The Rock. Remember, y'all said that y'all want Paul Heyman, who will be the best person when it came to a mouthpiece for The Rock. Paul Heyman. Yesterday, I have never seen this trailer before. I had never seen this Rock trailer before. Never. I've seen The Rock by himself with his face on there and his other stars. There was The Rock by himself pointing It looked like his personal freaking trailer. I was like, hell, The Rock is here or something? And I was like, huh. And it showed Seth, Braun Breaker, and Paul Heyman. Remember, The Rock did say that we still got a lot of more stuff left, and we did have a lot of people saying that the way we can get back to Roman is Seth joins The Rock. I'm not gonna lie, Final Boss. This may be Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, and Paul Heyman might be the last missing key of this group when it comes to being with The Rock. That's just my idea. Let's start there first, then we'll get into the Gunther and Logan Paul. What's your thoughts? Because I know you're gonna be like, your Rock is not coming back.
Well, as you saw, I'm over here rubbing my legs, even at the idea of him coming back. But I don't. But here's the thing:
it was like I've never seen this trailer before. Have you ever seen that type of trailer of The Rock before? I've never seen it before. I've never seen that type. It was all black.
I mean,
Rock.
You've seen that. You've seen a picture of his dad in Adam Pearce's office. But you know, WWE used to do Easter eggs, but they don't actually do anything with them anymore. What happened to the Wyatt? What happened to AJ Lee? What happened to all these Easter eggs that we
AJ Lee is not gonna come.
But they threw Easter eggs back there. They was throwing them. They do more than one.
That was it was not obvious. People on IWC.
Okay, but the one that you saw, wasn't even that obvious with his picture of his dad being back there.
How you did not see it? It said Chief PMIV right there in between.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, we've seen them show. We've seen them show other trucks, and we never seen those stars. Even coming. We thought they were coming right before WrestleMania, and it didn't come. So I mean, I think them days is over.
Stone Cold did come and he ran into a barricade and almost made
If Stone Cold was the only one, but everything else, we haven't seen.
Man, if this happens, that's the way. This is the only way.
Unless it's the tease where they're putting these eggs out there to see how we are reacting about the idea of Rock coming back, because we know, after the Pat McAfee interview, people kind of turn on the Rock, and that's probably why he's not coming back, because you guys did that, and you guys need to go ahead and take responsibility for what you did. You should be appreciating that. You should have sat there. You guys should have sat there and enjoyed the ride that the Rock was trying to take you guys on, but you weren't patient and you weren't grateful. Okay.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with this, Mark, because Rock wants to fight his cousin. He said that was the match that he wants to do, and I feel like he still owes that to Roman. We're still going to probably get that match,
but that's going to be. But you're not going to see that match. You're not going to see it for some time.
Think about it. Think about it. Think about this, guys. If he wins an Oscar, you have an Oscar-winning guy facing a guy who's wrestled. Rock is a wrestler, and he's facing the Roman Reigns. There's no bigger WrestleMania than that. That sold tickets there. If you want to sell tickets, there you go.
Here's the problem with that, though. This is why that story, even though we won it so bad, is over. I'm going to tell you why it's over. See, now hold on now. Put yourself on mute, because I know you're going to say something. If you say something, say nothing.
What did I
do? because you're going on a tirade right now. I can already tell.
Lord.
But here's the thing: is that The Rock decided to not be selfish and give his opportunity to Cody. If he hadn't done that, you would eventually have had Rock lose, pass it on to Roman, and you would have gotten Roman technically, with that time, like another 3-4 years, because that's the 2 he has left. It's now 2 years in. We know Roman has 2 years left, really like a year and a half, to be honest, at this point. So that story is done because we know there's no way around it. Because if Rock wins, does he is now we're he's a little bit older now. He's 53 years old now. He still looks great, but are we really going to see him kind of build that? We already lost 2 years with him now just by going down that direction. If Roman, if Rock loses and passes on to Roman, by the time he won't get a chance to even be, hey, I beat the high chief, because he's at the end of his career. There's no point of it anymore. It's done. It's done. Because now it's like, you know what? At this point, if you gotta have the match, whoever, no matter who wins or loses, they're gonna both be damn retired. That's where we are.
Well,
now.
I don't think that's the point. I think the point is just to
No.
to
No.
close the final chapter.
No.
I don't think it's
this
supposed to
is
be.
not
or
this
be
is
to
not
be.
a John Cena's check off
Well,
the bucket list
well,
retirement tour.
for your husband, The Rock, it is
But
because he
there's no.
said
But
if
the
he did
whole
his match,
purpose
he would
of it
retire.
was to do that and to have it play into something 20 steps ahead. You can't do
Mhm.
that now because you now have Roman towards the end of his career. That's the problem, is that he can't pass that torch and then months or even a year from now have Roman retire, because we don't have that time anymore. We've killed 2 years now. We really killed more than 2 years. We killed like 5.
I'm gonna say this, and I still have hope because your guy's The Rock, my guy's Roman. If they
I
don't
mean,
do
they
it
can still.
if they don't do it, and I know people said 42, no. If it doesn't happen next year, I'm giving up.
Well, that is 42. That's 42.
That's 42. Okay, well,
Yeah.
43. My
Hold
bad.
on now. That is 42. 41 already done passed now. We on 42 now.
Good. Okay, I didn't know. My bad. Well, if they don't do it next year, Final Boss in New Orleans, because The Rock did announce it, and it will tie into him announcing it being in Louisiana, which I hope us DWE team will be going to WrestleMania 42 um next year in New Orleans. Um, if it doesn't happen, then I don't know. It's over. There's no
Well,
hope or nothing for me. I'm sorry.
well,
I'm
here's
gonna
the
hang
thing.
it up.
Well, I mean, so if The Rock comes, then yes, we're going to WrestleMania 42. We're going to Nolans, and I guess we're gonna see the EVP out there. It'll be DWE and EVP, CJP. But because EVP said he's going, just like he's going to AEW.
Yeah.
But shout out to him, man. Shout out to him. We had him on the show last week. He's gonna be working on his YouTube coming up very soon in the future. He's going to AEW Double or Nothing. He won it in the contest. He's doing big things out there. Shout out to him. But they can still do the Rock and Roman match. They can still do it, but the story is going to be a little bit different now. That's the only thing. So they kind of have to get rid of that passion, that torch thing now, because Roman's at the end of his career, towards winding down. So they can still have the match. The story has to be a little bit different. I mean, if they want to be really lazy and just do it at the end, towards the end of the last few months of Roman's contract or career contract, they can say they both want to just be. It'll be the end of an era.
Well, the reason why I say this, and this goes into our fantasy booking topic that we got, because you got Seth, Gunther, Jay, and Logan. All of them are going towards Jay to try to win the title. Seth is winning this title, Final Boss. Remember, we don't know how long John Cena is going to hold this title. Wonder if The Rock is trying to have both titles on his team. He's just trying to pull a power move, and that's when we get the big reveal that once Seth wins it, I mean, it'll be crazy because this is his family, Jey Uso. But hell, he threw Jey Uso out of the damn what's the name when they beat up Cody back in the day when they beat up Cody in the ring. So I mean, he's not afraid to get physical with his own family. But my thing is, when it comes to this whole Logan, Gunther, Jay, and Seth. Seth is winning this title. It is no doubt. They're teasing this a little too much. If now a lesson, which I don't, and I know people has been throwing out this theory, and I don't feel like the group has been together long enough. I feel like when we do rush a little bit things a little too much, where you don't want to have break a turn on Seth just yet. That's too soon. We're too early into it. Too early. We have to have that way down the line. That's too early. What I would do with Jay. Jay is taking on Logan this weekend. Jay's retaining. You got right after that Monday, he takes on Gunther. Jay retains. Maybe after that, Money in the Bank, you have him go against Seth. You put Breaker in the ladder match, and Breaker might be the one to win the title. And where you have Breaker hold the briefcase and you have it on Seth, and you can tease um Breaker having second thoughts about teasing it, teasing the cashing in on Seth. That's where I think we can go with this if they want to go with it, because at the end of the day, Jay's gonna be. They're building Jay to be this baby face to beat all the odds. Now I'm not surprised, Final Balls. Drew McIntyre's not in this equation yet. I was thinking that Drew. I know you don't like him, but I'm just gonna be honest. I thought Drew was gonna be the one, and this is how me and Greg said we thought Drew was gonna push Jay to his limit, because I don't know yesterday if you noticed when Sammy came in, and we're gonna go into this when we get into Sammy and Punk, is Jay didn't dap up Sammy. He seemed a little like heelish a little bit. I put it where Drew was gonna push Jay to that limit and go back to being this almost kind of embodying the heel of what Roman did. But I have Jay winning all these matches until we get to Seth, and Seth will be the one to beat Jay. What's your thoughts on that, Final Boss Baby?
Yeah, so I mean, I missed some of that because I don't know why my ex is so delayed, but I just saw that The Rock posted. Um, so I got a little bit distracted with The Rock post about his birthday gift.
Yeah, I
So
seen that on Instagram.
so I heard some of what you said. Um, but
No, I was
yeah.
just saying that out of all these matches, because you got Jay versus Logan, Gunther, and Seth. Do you feel like any of these guys will be the guy, I guess, that will become world champion? How would you book I guess Seth and Jay for the rest of this main title run, I guess?
So here's a thing is that we got Paul Heyman backstage drinking coffee and saying that Seth Rollins is going to be the next champion, which to
Mm.
me makes sense because here we go with the evolution, where we have the top guy, which we said Seth Rollins is like the Triple H, be the champion, and then eventually
Mhm.
you'll have younger guy Breaker be that champion. So to me that makes sense. I just really hope that their booking is not you have Breaker cost him the title already. I just hope they really slow build that. Um, so if Seth wins the title, I hope he holds it for a little while. And then you kind of have Breaker really eye that title, and then that's how you turn. Now, if they want to play, old school, you can have Seth go ahead, lose the opportunity, have Braun Breaker go ahead, and have his opportunity, and really Seth Rollins, like Triple H wanted for Randy, was to pretty much throw that match, but soften up the opponent, and then that way he can win, and then and he wants to pass on that title when he was ready. He can kind of play that with Breaker and Seth all over again, if they want to go that direction. You know, a lot of people are saying that Logan Paul is your next champion. Man, I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't
Man,
either.
I don't see it. Like, he's good. And, you know, there was little pieces that I did like that he did, like where you had Gunther look away and you have him making like weird faces and stuff like that. But for me, even though his gimmick to me makes sense, he's supposed to be like this arrogant guy. He's a newcomer, came in. I get that, but it just doesn't fit. He doesn't deliver it for me like he should. It's not believable. So I can't see him being a main title guy. I mean, he was USA champion. That was fine, but seeing him being a main title guy, I don't know. I think they really need to go ahead and put Logan with someone. Maybe they need to put him in there. Put him in there with Seth. And
Really?
there's
I
two
heard
guys.
somebody saying that.
There's your two
That
guys.
was brought
There's your
up.
Breaker, your young guy. There's your Logan Paul, you know, your new guy. Now, Logan Paul's been there a couple years, but he still has a lot to technically learn, according to, like, you know, what the story would be, right? So it's kind of the same, you know, idea. So they can go ahead and kind of pitch that. With Sammy, I mean, the whole idea with Sammy is that he's going to turn. He's either going to turn, he's going to join somebody. I don't like this for Sammy, because if they're going to turn him, fine, but don't put him in, because he's not that new. He's not that fresh face anymore. We already know Sammy can go well in the ring. His promos are okay. You know, I think he's pretty much reached that ceiling. I mean, he's already been in top storylines. Hell, he was a big part of, you know, the bloodline storyline, you know, honorary Uso. So I feel like with Sammy, either turn him or get him out the story. I mean,
Yeah,
that's,
yeah. Me
but
and
you
you
know,
had the same thing, same
yeah,
booking.
but here's the reality, right? If KO wasn't hurt, he'll still be in there with, doing things with KO. He's just getting this opportunity because KO is out with a very serious injury right now. But yeah, it's either turn him heel or get him out the story. I say put Logan Paul.
Oh,
Yeah, he can do something else. What else story they can do with him, I don't know. But I say for him, use the opportunity to turn him heel, and then use the opportunity to put Logan Paul in
with
into the
Seth.
stable,
Now
because
that would be interesting. That would be
right
interesting.
now I feel Logan Paul will benefit from it. Him as a champion, what is he gonna do? All he's gonna do is play back. But once again, will be him and Jay again, or him and Gunther, and him and Sammy. And we
Well,
already know. I'm sorry, who the hell wants to see him and Sammy or him and Gunther?
well, I had the same kind of booking you had when it came to Sammy. I wouldn't turn him either because of what he did with the bloodline. It would be the same thing. It'd be
I
copy and paste. It'd be the same
I
thing.
would have him use this opportunity for a heel turn and do something else with it, and then
Well,
and
see, I think if he turns, let's say if he turned to heel this Saturday main event, um, um, a lot of people are going to automatically think that he's going to be joining with Seth, unless he does the turn and they do the thing where you lose they have him walk away and we don't find out what's going on until Monday, and we're like, oh well, we're going to go with him and we're going to see it, and then they can do it the way
I
you're
mean,
saying.
people gotta learn to think outside the box, man. Like, you can have Sammy turn heel and say that, you know, he didn't need anyone then, doesn't need
Hmm.
anybody now. That's
Hmm.
that's gonna be a stick. He didn't need anybody then. He didn't need anybody now. He's been the fighting guy that he is since day one, and that's his heel
Hmm.
turn. Now, where he goes after that, I don't really know, but that's gonna
Hmm.
be his stick. And then you'll have Logan Paul go ahead and be with Seth. because I
That
think he
that
needs it.
that was a wild theory. He was
I,
not one of the guys that I put um as a third guy. I didn't even have Sammy when it came to Sammy turning. I don't think it's too because Monday and he was just saying because Punk came to the ring a little slow. And I was like, man, Punk is taking a while to get to this ring. And like I said,
Jay,
with the thing, yeah, when the thing with Sammy going to the back with Jay, just the vibe between Jay. It wasn't Sammy, it was Jay. Like, I don't know. Maybe having those thoughts of understanding the weight now, something that Roman did prepare him for. You can maybe throw Roman in here to say, "Hey, I prepared you for this. I told you this was going to come with what you're going through." So maybe they could play that a little bit into this to maybe give Jay back up on spirit because he seemed like he was a little down. If I was booking it, I wouldn't have Sammy turn at all because it's too obvious. Now the Logan part, that would be interesting. I didn't think about that because Logan's like he's already a big star on his own. And when you said it did make sense because you did have Seth Rollins come to Logan and say, "Hey, if you win, it could be me and you again. But if not, he did say we're gonna have Jay really beat down so bad that it's gonna be a guarantee you win, which that didn't happen. But Logan did give him a look like, huh? It was interesting now. It was sort of like they was giving out that little seed of, hey, you can team up with us and we can do this all together. I was just thinking that they was just doing that just because Seth Rollins, no matter what, he's just been focused on getting this title for himself. You've been seeing a lot of Paul Heyman with Breaker a lot, and like I say, that may come down the line, but I don't know, Final Balls. I feel like if you this Saturday, you don't turn Sammy, Seth and Breaker gets the win and maybe you have Seth and Breaker interfere after the match when Jay wins to help Logan, and Logan joins the group. That's what I just think when it comes down to this whole thing. When it comes to Sammy, maybe turning. I don't think Sammy will turn because, like you say, it's just too obvious. I mean, and if you do, you don't have him join with Punk and what's the name of them? I would not do that. You got any final thoughts when it comes to Sammy maybe turning Punk or Jay soon?
I mean, here's another avenue. When Jay loses, have him join Seth.
You said that once before.
Yeah.
That will maybe be one of the most interesting things because right away your husband got to come back. Because okay, we had the trailer. Now you got Jay Jordan himself. I'm like, come on, man, come on. What we're doing here? But see how long? See for that to happen, Final Balls. How long do you have Jay holding the title to Money in the Bank, and then that's when he joins Seth? He just been forced into the group.
Well, he doesn't have to join him right away after he loses it.
Hmm.
He can lose it, kind of had that whole dissension. You have Paul Heyman in the back, putting bugs in his ear. You have Seth Rollins putting bugs in his ear, whispering in his ear, and kind of build up to that. It can take a few weeks, a couple months, a month or so. So it doesn't have to be right away. Um, the only thing is that if they are going to do that route, you know, babyface Jay, the yeet movement or yeeting it up is going to die. So if they are going to do that, they have to slowly build that up, you know, over time. So, I mean, it depends because my whole thing is that whenever it comes, when Jay loses, where is he going? What's the story?
You've been saying that a
So I
lot.
mean, this is the same thing we had with Cody. Now what? So
Yeah.
I mean, and then now with Cody, it kind of worked because he lost and we haven't seen him, so not worried about now what. But if he lost and he came back, I mean, like right away, we're like, now what? With him, it was he had a title. Now what? Now with Jay, he has a title. When he loses, it's now what? So, I mean, this is an avenue. Now, if they want to make it big and they just want to say everybody join Steph, well, you can have Logan Paul and Jey Uso. Once he loses the title, of course, join Steph, because the whole stick can be, at least with on Jay's side, is that if he loses that title, he loses it to someone. Well, let's say he loses it to somebody else, and then eventually, Seth gets it. The whole idea of him joining Seth is, hey, once I get the title, you're first in line to have a match against me. That's gonna be the pitch. Join me. I'll show you the way. I know your main event, Jay. And I can help you get back there. Once I win this title, you're first in line. So that's what they can go ahead and use. Now, granted, even if it's not Jay, if it's somebody else that Seth wants and he wins this title, that's going to be his stick. So if Seth wins a title and he wants to, let's say we go with Logan Paul, well, you're first up. So I mean, there's that's
and they can play into the whole I guess the angle where everyone was like, you have that evolution teases because remember, Seth and Logan has already faced each other. You got Braun Breaker, young guy. Logan's young too, so he's still quite young. So you still have two young stars. Matter of fact, that's a mega team, Final Boss, and Evolution was a mega team. If you think about it, Batista, Randy Orton, and Triple H, and Ric Flair.
And to me, remember, Logan Paul, while he can talk on a mic, his gimmick is not believable. But with him
and that's
joining,
where you can have Paul, and that's where you can have Paul Heyman.
Right, you have Paul Heyman, but Paul Heyman doesn't even talk that much no more. He don't need to because Seth is talking. Now, even though, because the role is a little bit different. Now, we all know that Roman doesn't need a mouthpiece, but the whole idea of having Paul Heyman was because he didn't have to talk anymore. That's Paul Heyman's job. He's the wise man. Even though he's still going by a wise man, at least for now, his role is more kind of like I'm manager, but I'm like the guy in the back. I'm more for support. But it's
like Ric Flair, like how Ric Flair was.
And it's Seth doing all like the talking. Because remember, when they had Evolution, it was more so Triple H talking, not really Ric Flair. Ric Flair could talk. It was more kind of the guy for support. I guess that's what Paul Heyman is now, right? But I think by them having Seth there, having him be the talking vocal point, it saves Logan. It'll help him get that character really over. Because look at what it did for Batista. He got that animal gimmick over because everything that transpired with him and Triple H. And him, well, he just had the match.
And also with him and Randy too.
Right, but it helped get him over. He was doing the piece of power bombs and everything. Piece of bomb. So that's gonna help Logan Paul get over his whole cocky, idea. It's over because right now it's not believable. You need somebody else to kind of push that on you. And I'm gonna kind of step away from WWE just for a little bit and kind of go AEW, because one of the things that was similar was Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara. Right, so he was just a little bit older. I don't know if you're watching AEW back then, but Sammy Guevara was going to be like your next big guy. He was being called the wrestling, the Spanish God. So, and it was Chris Jericho pushing that, saying this is going to be your next big guy. He's a Latino God. That was him pushing that idea even though Sammy Guevara character at that time was still, I'm a young cocky guy, but it was Chris Jericho trying to push that agenda. So that's what we can kind of do here with Logan Paul, is you have Seth push that agenda for Logan Paul. He's still the same character, but it's someone else kind of pushing that idea and making it get over. And I think that's what Logan Paul really needs. Because
Yeah,
right now, the vibes that I get from Logan Paul is, he's good, it's there, but it's kind of like The Miz, where it should make sense, but it's not believable.
yeah. And I feel like when it comes to Logan, like I said, he could be a great addition to that group. I did not think about him when it came to that group. Yeah, I don't have Sammy turning on no one, but we'll see this Saturday on Saturday night main event. When it comes to the TV event, it's not a PLE event. Let's go ahead and get it into I think one of our topics that will expand on a lot of people when it comes to the women's division. Um, this Friday, and you was one of the people that said it. When it came to Nia Jackson, Tiffany, what a great main event. I think I'm not gonna lie to you, Final Boss. Maybe one of the best main events I've seen in quite some time on a regular show. Because the women have been main eventing quite some time. The chemistry between Tiffany and Nia is crazy. I mean, why would it not be? They travel together. They've been around each other quite some time, way before they broke up. They was before they even teamed up. They was hanging around each other, and she was learning the roots of her Samoan roots. There's videos out of Tiffany trying to learn the hairs of Nia, and her and Nia have became real close. Um, I'm gonna start with those two. I would love. I don't know what's gonna be next for Nia Jax. I wouldn't mind seeing these two running back again, Final Boss. I'm not gonna lie to you. I see Jade maybe getting into the qualifying match. But if they put Jay and Naomi, I know a lot of people have been saying Naomi. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I know I'm probably gonna get a lot of slack for this, but I'm so scared that she win the final boss because there's been no woman has had a failed cash in yet, and I would be so furious if they make her be the first one. If they make not Nia Jackson, if they make Naomi be the first woman to ever have a failed cash in, I will probably y'all talking about crash out. I'm gonna have a crash out because I'm like, what are we doing here? So that's the only reason I had that fear for me has not went nowhere when it comes to Naomi winning the briefcase. Um, with this whole thing because that feeds into her, Naomi, Tiffany, and when even it comes to Jade. We'll start there with the women's division. Do you have any thoughts about that? And then we'll get into some more of the women we have that some thoughts. What's your thoughts about the Nia and Tiffany um, match, or any thoughts about SmackDown women's division?
Yeah, so the match was pretty good. It was one of Nia's better matches. It was one of Tiffany's better matches. It's a big redemption from what we've seen from the other ones, for both sides. Man, you must really love Money in the Bank because all you care about is failed cash-ins, and honestly, I don't think everybody else kind of
I
feels the same. I don't think
well, I
a lot of
do.
people. Yeah, but
Because
I think
because
you're
they
one
get
of the ones
well. The reason
that.
why I say that is because Carmelo's really, if you think about cash ins, the first thing I think about is Carmelo's, Dolph Ziggler's, Alberto Del Rio, who's back with WWE. Those guys that set their career, final boss. For me, I love Money Bank because I love the idea. There's a chance you could win. There's a chance you could lose. I love the
But
idea.
does it always set their career? Because Tiffany has a title, but did it really set her career right now? No, I feel like she'll be in the same regards even if she didn't have that title.
Well, we can say the same thing for Carmella because look, when she won it, it
Hmm.
it really didn't get that way. But You have you have the Alexa Bliss of the worlds that it
Mhm.
worked it for. Liv Morgan, it worked it for. I think Becky has won it before, and it's built her career. I don't
Mhm.
think Charlotte has won it yet. It's quite interesting. I think this will be her third Money Bank. I don't know the number, but I know she's been in quite a few. Um, it'd be interesting. I don't think she held it yet. It could be real interesting if she holds it. I love the Money Bank briefcases because of the idea of what
Mhm.
if. That's why I like it. It's one of my most favorite pay per views, Funny Balls, for me. I
Mhm.
really do love it because of the idea of it.
I mean, here's the thing: is that you can't just look at a cash in. Like, what happens after they cash in? I mean, you got to have that story written. So even if the person seems to be great right now and a good candidate for actually winning Money in the Bank, are they going to be a great candidate? Months later, like when we're trying to build them, teasing the cash in, and then after it. So there's a lot of pieces to that, but it's a good tool to have because that winner or this pay per view, PLE, really writes itself. Where if you have somebody
Mhm.
who either they're the underdog, but they believe in them, people backstage, not us, or someone you want to take a gamble on, it writes itself because it depends on how long they want to hold it. If you want them to either win the title or not, if you really want them to go for the big title or something a little bit smaller, on the mid card. So there's different ways you can go with it. Um, as far as Nia Jax, okay, she had a great match. Now what?
I don't
Because
know.
because
That's a
that's the
great
thing
question.
now is that she was champion before, she lost to the Tiffany, so that story was pretty much over unless they really want to run it back and have her actually win it against Tiffany again. I mean, like, have her win it back from Tiffany. But then we're kind of playing, we're playing frisbee.
Cause yeah.
But they can kind of do that.
Well,
Um,
see this and this what for me where it goes back to like I say the idea of the briefcase because say for instance you have a Jade or a Naomi in there. One if Naomi wins the briefcase and she cashes in on her own cousin Nia Jax right after she wins because Nia Jax seems like she's the person that gets cashed in on the most. Her and Drew McIntyre might have the most cash in on moments when it comes to people getting cashed in on. I think her and Drew might be the if I'm not mistaken, they might be the two highest people that always get cashed in on. So I feel like if that I feel like if you have Naomi win, you can have a story there if you're going to frisbee it. But like I say, because the really when it comes to women's division on SmackDown Final Balls, all you have is Jade now, Naomi, Nia, Charlotte, Alexa, and Tiffany. Those are
to be honest,
your ladies.
and here's the thing is that we were so excited for this, Naomi and Jay and all this, and that whole story. I feel like they kind of,
Went
unfortunately, like they
flat.
dropped the ball on it. I think it's done. And I think the new story more so now is going to be with Alexa and Charlotte. I think that's going to be the new direction of where we're going now. I think that's going to be a top story.
You got
Honestly,
any thoughts about that? About the Charlotte and Alexa?
I mean, I thought there was going to be a few. It looks like going to be teaming up. I guess maybe they're going to be teaming up. You know, maybe against Tiffany and someone, or maybe against Nia Jax. I mean, against well, even Nia Jax and someone, or Naomi and someone. Having another team there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
a
I
Franken team.
because I
But
felt it. I felt quite interesting when because I told you before we got to this Friday, I was like, I think they're going to team up because she came up to the car and said, "Let's talk." And then last week she said, "Did you think about what we talked about?" And I was like, "Okay, they might be teaming up, and I was like
Mhm.
interesting. But Charlotte did say, "No, I don't need your help. Da 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 da. I'm finna
Well,
go
they
on
always say that. They
outside
always
match."
say that. That's booking 1-on-1. They're always gonna say no at first, and then eventually you'll
Yeah,
have
yeah,
to.
yeah. That's
So
what,
that's
right away I said. So we're teaming up because from what we heard, Alexa was going to be the leader of the Y6. So I guess we're done with that. I guess they're not going to be. I guess she's not going to be in that, and we're going to do her teaming up with Charlotte because I thought Nikki Cross and her would could have been teaming up and winning the tagging up together. But I guess we're going to do Alexa and Charlotte. So I find that quite interesting that you're going to do these two pairings. They do have history because Alessa did bring it up that she did tear up the Lily doll head when they was feuding. That was true. That's recalled back from when Bray Wyatt and was live way back. I mean, you talking about storytelling, and even Charlotte said, "Yeah, we was never friends, and this and this and that."
I mean,
That,
and here's the
that
thing,
pairing is interesting, Final Boss.
and I am not interested in that story. Yeah, I remember her
Really?
tearing up the doll. I think it was actually on a Raw.
Yeah, I think so.
But
I
yeah,
think so.
I remember being
Either
on Raw.
SmackDown or
I
Raw.
mean, I don't care. I mean, I hate to be that person, but it's not a story that I care in. Now, what they could do, they could make me care by having them two team up and then
Mm-hmm.
having Alexa turn on Charlotte because she remembers that. Uh,
Mm.
yeah, so that's be the only way I would care about them bringing up that story.
So you're saying if you have Alexa and Charlotte having a good run, quite like what 2-3 months, and then you have her turn on Charlotte, or you just have her maybe teaming up for at least a month because you see how fast Becky
Well,
and Liv Victoria turn on each other. Do you have that kind of turn like right
I
away, or just
mean,
you carry it out?
for that, it doesn't matter. It depends on if they have a direction for them after the breakup. If you don't have
Mm,
nowhere for Charlotte to go, drag it on. If you have
mm-hmm.
somewhere to put Charlotte, speed it up. Same thing with Alexa Bliss. Do you have something for her to go ahead and do? Go ahead, speed it up. If you don't have nothing for her to go ahead and do, drag it on. So I feel like that's it's a buying point for them to
And,
see
and
it
you
will buy creative time on them.
Yeah, and you still
But
have B Chan and B Fab because they said when Liv comes
Frankenstein,
back, they both
Frankenstein,
yeah.
Frankenstein.
But what they saying that I know that they said they supposed to have a tag match
Mhm.
when Liv and
When Liv
Raquel, yeah,
yep,
when Liv
for
comes
the
back.
title,
So
they were
there's
talking
that
about
too.
that with
So
Miguel's. Yeah.
maybe that's why they're trying to team up Alexa and Charlotte maybe to make
I
you
mean,
might
do
have a three-way
you?
there. Maybe I don't know.
I mean, I guess they're trying to build up tag teams again, which is
Exactly.
which is
Which they do
fine.
need when it comes to women.
But I mean, we're going to a whole different direction. I mean, the real direction is with the Naomi and Jay story. That's fading. So where do we put Naomi? Where do we put Jade now? Because Bianca's gonna be
Well,
out for some more time. She's healing up her hand. So
you
where do
mean
we put these two people
Bianca?
at?
You mean
Yeah,
Bianca?
yeah. Bianca's selling her hand. So where do we put Jade? Where do we put Naomi? We're gonna
Well,
put them back in the tag
I feel like that's
team.
what you try to put. No, I feel like you get them because we got quite some time before we get to Money Bank. You can kind of maybe carry it out
No, we
after Money
don't.
Bank. But when is
No, we
Money Bank?
don't. No, we don't. Money in the Bank is in June. We're on May 20th. It's 2 weeks from
June
now.
what? June the 7th.
I think it's either the 7th or the 9th. It's early June. It's like
Oh,
2.5 weeks
okay.
from now.
Well, if it's that, then you carry this out to the Money Bank and then you end it. I don't know when is Bianca
Mhm.
gonna come back because I mean her hand must be pretty banged up.
It is.
We know she had a hand injury, but Final Boss maybe you know the classic when they used to do it where you close the chapter, you move on to something else, and then you revisit it. They used to do that back in the
Mhm.
day too. Maybe you're gonna have to do that with this because we don't know when Bianca's gonna come back
Yeah.
when it comes
And
to this
I
women division.
And maybe they are holding. Maybe they kind of died down with the Naomi and Jade story because they're waiting for Bianca to come back to reset that. Because same thing what happened before is that they teased this Jade being pushed into the car windshield, and then they kind of stopped it for months, and they brought it back up. So I guess that's where they're going. But right now, I mean, what is Jay gonna be doing in the meantime? What's Naomi gonna do in the meantime? They can't have them two battling back and forth for weeks and months. It's just getting old now. Honestly, I'm not even interested anymore. I'm done. I'm tired of seeing. I mean, I'm and it's crazy because a few weeks ago we were all excited, but I'm real tired of seeing Naomi, as great as she is, coming out there with caution tape on, looking angry, making weird faces, fighting with Jay, and it's not even a good fight with Jay, and then that's it. I'm getting tired of seeing that
Then
because there's no
they
progression.
were
You guys
teasing
already
that
had the
that
match.
her and Nia Jax was seeming like they was on the same page, and they
Yeah.
don't stop that. And I'm like,
Yeah,
what are
they
we
don't stop
doing?
that. And then they already had the Naomi and Jay match. We already had the match. So what's the point? None of you guys have a title. There's no. So what's the prize? Nothing.
Only
Nothing.
thing I can say is it has to play out where we're going to see at Money in the Bank, and then you end it there. Unless you gonna have an angle where you get us back interested. I thought that they was gonna give Naomi a team. We thought it was gonna be the
And
Meta
they,
Girls, and they were one of the
yep,
Meta
and
Girls have been let go. So I don't
mm,
think they're gonna even team her up with someone. It would have probably been great to give her a group. I would have did a group with her. To this needs a refreshing quick when it comes to Jay and Naomi. For the SmackDown side, like I say, I'm interested in seeing what they've been keeping Me Chan and B5 on TV, even though Me Chan did come up with a loss, which made sense because like I say, you have those them going for the tag titles. I can't think of no more women now. I think
well, you have the Her service. So you have Chelsea Green, you got Piper, and you got Alba Fire. So I mean,
oh
that's
yeah,
your
yeah,
ticket
yeah,
right
yeah.
there.
Well, yeah,
So
yeah. I forgot about Chelsea Green. Yeah, yeah. Well, and then yeah, because they did come back.
and then
It
remember,
seems like they finna make them a tag team now. All
and then
three,
and
three
then
of
we
them.
also have you know a mid card title that's still looming around. We have Zelina. So I mean, we have all these different things they could be going for. I mean, if Nia Jax is done with that, have her try to go for the United States Championship.
That would be interesting. That would be
I
interesting.
mean, it,
I thought came to my mind when you talked about Chelsea Green, Piper, and Ava Fire. And we was talking about the New Day earlier in the video. Remember New Day used to use the Freebird rule. Wonder if they do that with Chelsea Green and her crew. What's your thoughts on that when it comes to the women's tag team title? I haven't seen no one do that yet. That could maybe make these women's tag team titles back interesting a little bit because we haven't seen no women do that. It's three of them. Would that be something that you would think to be quite interesting when it comes to those tag team titles? It seems like that's the direction they're going with Chelsea now.
I mean, like I said, it's not something that I'm invested in. I mean, I like the idea of the Her service is actually a
Mm-hmm.
really good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Just seeing it play out is not a real good idea. I like the whole salute and everything that Chelsea Green does, like when she hits a move. But I mean,
It reminds me.
it's
It
not
reminds
hitting
me of
for me.
New Day S a little bit. That's why I say it came up to my mind. If you put them,
You don't mind me nothing of
um,
that at all.
I mean, it'll be because like I say, I don't think no one has done it yet. It'll be very probably because New Day got it over. Matter of fact, that because the tag team division, and when I think about the women's tag team division, it was quite just like this. It was like, oh my god, and they introduced the Freebird rules, which got us interested. Well, you didn't know who of the two out of the three was going to enter into the match, and great match between them and the Usos at that Hell in a Cell that set the tone for that tag team division. And Chelsea, she has quite a character on her, and it seems like they're doing angles with her and Mi Chin, and it seems like Mi Chin and B-Fab, when they're going for the tag team titles, I feel like you could do that angle with them, because that can give Liv and Raquel, once they drop them, free time to do. I'm pretty sure, like I told you and I told many others, that once Liv drops those titles, I think she's going to get pushed to the moon, especially now you have Raquel in the mix. I just think that's going to happen right away.
I mean,
So
here's the thing, though. Is she? Because she doesn't need the title. Liv doesn't need a title for the story that they're going with right now.
no. I didn't say now. I didn't say go straight for a title picture. I just said she's getting pushed. You push her,
Well, when you say
but you
push to
give
the
her
moon, that usually means someone's is like
down the
champion.
yeah, down the line. Don't. I'm
Mm.
not saying just throw a title on her right away. You start building her back up, because she's been going for a while. She kind of I wouldn't say it died down, because she's been going a while. I don't know how long she's going to be going, because now you got Roxanne in this
Honestly,
mix.
I don't see her going for that title for a long time. I think
How
realistically,
how long you thinking?
long time. I think the next people gonna be winning that title, maybe either your Becky Lynch or your Lyra. That's who they're pushing now. I think the only
Mm.
thing you're gonna get from Liv right now for a while, which is fine. She's gonna be in a main story, but it's gonna be a
Mhm.
main story to do with Judgment Day and Finn and Dom and Roxanne. She's not gonna be winning a title anytime soon. That title picture now, really realistically, is in the hands of Lyra and Becky. I think that's
Mm.
where they're going, because they're more so focused on them than anyone else. Now, granted, it's probably because Becky is now back, but they're more so pushing them more. I think even if Liv did not have this movie, they would
Mm.
still be teasing this whole thing with Roxanne. I think that's
Well, yeah,
really
yeah.
gonna be the
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 direction.
direction for them.
Mhm.
I don't even think they're even gonna hold the tag team titles for as long anymore. I think that's gonna be gone. I think that's just gonna be the story now, because the story doesn't call for it. It's not needed. Um,
Mm.
and we know, again, which is fine, because you have a lot of stars that are that way. You have a lot of stars that are in main stories, but there's no title in there. Remember the
Mhm.
Bianca and Jade. Um, well, technically Bianca, Jade, and
Naomi.
Naomi, which
Mhm.
they pushed Bianca to a whole different story with Rhea, but and Io. But that was a main story before they took Bianca out of it. But that was a main story without a title. Roman's story was a main story without a title, and that's both
Mhm.
stories with
Even
Paula,
now.
and then with Punk and Seth. These were
Mhm.
all main stories, but there was no title. That's
Mhm.
what Liv and Roxanne are going to be, main stories, but
Mm.
no title. That's what you're going to see more of. It's crazy, because it could be a title, because hell, now we have all of these titles for the women. Now we don't just have one anymore.
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
got mid card titles, we got tag team titles, we got D
Mhm.
title. But I feel like they're more, and it's kind of good, because now they're more focusing on the stories now. And that's, oh,
Mhm.
you want the title, you lost like, oh, you won the title, oh, you lost like. Now
Mhm.
they actually are having these stories, which is what we've asked for now for years,
So
right? So
yeah.
I mean, but yeah, I don't see that. I don't see that with Liv anymore. I just feel like she's gonna be in that very, very popular high story with Judgment Day and with Roxanne, um, with Raquel. They play her right, even though she's kind of like that little bystander. She doesn't need that title. She doesn't need a title either, because it'll be her backing up Liv.
What do you
Which is what
think?
she was doing even before they won the tag team titles anyway. She was just kind of
Mhm.
like her bodyguard technically. So I mean, they can still, play that. Or, if they want to go ahead and go old school and have a friendship thing, they could have them fighting over Roxanne and Liv, because somebody needs to have, that
The
additional,
bodyguard, yeah.
power force with them. So there's that element too. You don't need a title to even do all that anymore.
Yeah, and I feel like cause I'm kind of glad they are doing something when it comes to getting some
Right.
more tag teams when it comes to women, cause
And
they need it, and like you said, they have so many titles. I didn't think about Roxanne and Liv being in that light. That means they're going to be both considered mega stars without a title, and you can carry a story without a title is a great accomplishment. A lot of people don't think that because what's the old saying? Um, the man doesn't make the title makes you. I mean, well, you don't. The title doesn't make the man makes the title. So maybe that goes for Liv and Raquel. I mean, Roxanne when
and
both of
here's
those are supposed to do it.
and here's the thing, because we're gonna
Oh,
move
I
on.
like that.
We're gonna move on from from this, is that you know here's a piece, is that while Liv did have the title, for a little while, and she was using that as part of her
Mhm,
gimmick, with the Liv Dom thing. The real story wasn't when Liv Dom was in its high point, not when it kind of like died down and you had them doing other things and she's more focused on being champion. You have all this dissension with Judgment Day, but when it was the high point of the Liv Dom story, really that title was more of a prop. The whole story was more so Liv Dom. You don't hear people say Liv Champion. It's Liv Dom. People are Liv Dom fans. So that
mhm,
was a story. Technically, she didn't even need that title for this story. Now, I feel like WE didn't know that. I feel like, because that was part of the revenge tour and all this stuff, and they kind of didn't know she didn't really need to
mhm,
have the title to push that story over as what she did. But now
mhm,
looking at it, that was nothing but a prop. The whole story was just the Liv Dom. And I think WE kind of saw that the way that other people like myself did, and that's why now with this new story you're gonna have with Roxanne, you don't need those titles for it. It's good enough without it. Um,
mhm,
that's just where we are now. Granted, it did aid in her build of her character, but really, I mean, did she really die down after she lost that title and became a tag team champion? No, because the story was still, JD and Dom. Even though Liv Dom kind of calmed down, it was still at least a story with Judgment Day. So it didn't really make a difference. So I mean, that's really where we are. And to be honest, the whole high point of a person's career should be, the title doesn't define you anymore. You can be great without the title. Like Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins ain't got a title. He ain't have a title in how long? And look at where
oh,
he is.
about quite a while.
Exactly. But look at where he is. He's still a top guy. CM Punk, no title. Still a top guy.
Mhm,
These are examples. Roman Reigns has that entitled over a year now, and when he is in the story, still a top guy. So these, that shows you these are your examples of stars that can do something on only the title. Becky Lynch, while she was in the title picture, and now she kind of moved away from just going for the title, still a top female, no title. Alexa Bliss just now came back. Well, again, back on screen because she came back and she was off screen. Now she's back on screen. No
mhm,
title. Nia Jax, technically in the main picture, no title. Jade, still in the main picture, no title. Naomi, still in the main picture. When last time she won a title? Long, long time ago. No title. So a lot of these
mhm.
stories now, and W needs to realize that they don't even really need all these titles anymore. They should only be used in a pinch because you have all these people doing all these big things, no title.
Yeah, we'll see. We're gonna get to our last topic. I know you was like it's Becky Lynch joining John Cena. It's been some teases lately. I know last week you pointed out the weird promo John Cena asked, and then this Monday, Pat McAfee was like, saying referring to her as John Cena and saying things about John
The
Cena.
time
Kept
is now.
saying, yeah, and I was like, huh, and I was like, maybe I was maybe right because you was like last week when we was on Talk It Up, you was like, if Becky joins John Cena, that's going to be crazy, and I just throw something out there like we're doing today. I was just fantasy booking because I was like, well, it kind of makes sense, but you was like, no, it might be just because she's the man and that's a gimmick. She's doing everything men do, and I was like, okay, maybe you're right, but now, Final Boss, do you think that we're getting Becky joining up with John Cena?
I mean, if they do that, like we said, and like Francis had said when we was having this conversation, um, well, AJ Francis, no, also known as Dollar, Top Dollar, Hit Row, formerly Hit Row. If they do that, it's wild. Or is it just
Hmm.
Pat McAfee just going off script on the goddamn announce table, like how he said last week about, he over there throwing out Eminem
Yeah, the
references.
Eminem.
I
Yeah.
mean, but I hope that there was someone actually telling him to say this line with a purpose. I hope that's where we are, because if they do this, it's great, because at first it seemed like Becky was really going to be in that title picture. Then some things were said, about her with the IWC, and now they kind of pulled back and I focus more on the character. So maybe that's where they're going more so just the character work, her being, you know, that heel again. Um, and then eventually, you'll have someone you know, like Lyra really go for, bigger things. You know, the title, Eos title, right? Which I think that's where they're gonna go. They're eventually gonna have Lyra actually go for like Eos title, women's title. Um, but yeah, if they put that with Becky, that's that's crazy. I think there'll be a really, really big thing for Becky. Another thing to go ahead and do, have her be in a top story, no title. Now they could go ahead and spin it where she does take the title, and you have John Cena and her taking the titles on the way out.
Wow.
Have them
Wow.
take on the way out.
That'll be wild. Now that's
And
some
that's
fantasy
the
booking.
end of the era, the end of the ghost, the end of the man, the end of they can go ahead and do that. But that'll only work if she is on her last run and she's actually
Hmm.
gonna be done after this.
Well,
If she's
I
not,
mean,
then
she did say in that thing that she didn't know how much time
what
because
thing?
like we said when
What
she
thing?
said in promo she was like she didn't know how
What
much
thing?
time she had come back and you know she only came back to give the fans what they wanted and they still booed her, so you got that too. So I don't know, Final Boss. Maybe you could play it where she makes us think she's about to retire and she really is not, because that's some hellish thing to do. And you can just probably tell the story where we're both thinking that they're both like, okay, they're both retiring. This is crazy, and they're on their way out. Even though Becky might won't be, but by her being a heel, she's playing into the heel gimmick. So I don't know. We'll have to see if this happens. Final Balls, that'll be crazy. It'll
I
be crazy.
mean, yeah, they want to do that, and if she really wants to be done with it, and she needs to be sure that she's done, unless she's gonna be done for a while and come back and cut a promo and come back and say, "Hey, you thought I was done? I'm still here." Use the whole Randy Orton line. I'm a piece of furniture. I'm here to stay.
Oh Lord.
Um, and do that. Um, but I'm not gonna lie. This is the most interested I've been in Becky Lynch in a long time. Long
Mm,
time. I haven't been this interested in Becky Lynch really since she became the man, like originally.
mm,
Um, you know, over time with her and the man, it kind of got old. She was coming out there wearing white, like furry things, and they were just like, eh. But that original turn when she was wearing the white and black shirt, which if you look at the font is very similar to John Cena's font now. She was wearing on that man T-shirt, that black and white, that
I've been,
original one.
I've been
Um,
noticing that too.
so which I just think is a coincidence, to be honest. But I think they can play into it like it's not, because that's what they do. They
Yes,
did it with The Rock
yeah.
a million times.
Hmm.
But I mean, because that's what they did with The Rock and his whole friendship with Cody that they had at the Netflix thing. That was just supposed to be, nothing, and then they just turned it into something else with the whole with Smart on them. They can do the same thing with Becky and Cena. They can turn something, turn nothing into something, um, which I think would be really, really great. The only thing is that if she does go ahead and do that, she has to be done with the whole Lyra story and then move on to with John Cena and kind of pushing that agenda. Which I feel like the Lyra story is going to end soon because they've been battling a lot. So I feel like that's going to come to an end pretty soon. Because right now, Lyra, she doesn't have the title. So it's not like having another match between those two is going to do anything. Like Becky already lost that match. It's not like we're going to have a match unless Lyra wins the championship, and then you have her and Becky, and then you have that whole thing going back and forth. But right now, we don't have that. So I feel like, kind of wrap this up, put it on the back burner, maybe have, Becky go, with Cena. And then once Lyra wins the actual championship, then they can run that back. I think that's the better move right now.
Yeah, we'll have to see because this is interesting. We can like you say, maybe it was just something that Pat McAfee said off script. I hope, like you said, it's something that they told him to say. Because it could be planting seeds. Because guess what? Like I say, the truck that we seen when Steph passed by might won't be Seth and Breaker and Paul. Because who is Seth married to? Becky. It could be linking that to him. I mean, that little tease and stuff there. So we don't know. Any final thoughts before we get up out of here today, final boss, about anything before we leave today and here and talk it up?
Is there any pieces that we didn't hit?
I think we hit everything.
I don't. Well, there was one piece that you said that Jay kind of hesitated when he was dabbing up Sami Zayn. I
Yes,
didn't catch that. I mean, I just
it
felt
was
like
weird
he
when
was
he came into
weighing
the
his
locker
options.
room.
But he seemed to be. Yeah, I saw it. But but I
Look,
felt like it just more
I see you
of
over there doing your hand tap like back to
yeah.
the rock.
This.
We know you the final boss. We understand.
Yeah, this. You got to do the 1, 2, 3 and all that. But you got to do the
Oh Lord, Jesus
um
Christ.
and say now.
Hopefully that goes somewhere.
But we don't. Hey, I don't know. But I mean, it just feels like Jay has a lot on his mind. It
Mm,
feels like he's almost giving that same type of line that Cody had, like where it's like the title gets heavier and heavier on you.
mm.
That's what
That's
Jay
the
is
same
going
thing.
through. Is
That's the
going through
same
it
thing.
heavier and heavier. Unless you can have, and this is going to be a fetch, which they don't have to do it right now because Cena is so on limited time right now. We're already almost in June. He's leaving us in December. So you definitely want to have him play a role into Cody. But if they didn't want to do that, I mean, we could have, this is cringy, but you can, eventually have Jay and Cody because
Oh
now you
Lord,
have,
Jesus
yep, because
Christ.
now you have Jay going through that target, that fatigue on his back, which is the same thing,
That they did
that
with
was
Cody.
being told by John Cena to Cody. So I mean, they can kind of play a role. They can really play all that in together. They don't have to do it separate. They can have that play it with Cena and Cody and Jay, and kind of have this mixed bag of all three of them going through that. I mean that can be a direction, for Jay. If they don't want the other idea of having Jay join Seth, you'll have it a mix up with Cody and Roman. But that won't be until either they can do it now and kind of plant seeds and say he's filling that target. It's not what he thought. He's main event Jay. Now you're here not living up to that. Or they can wait until after Jay loses that title. And kind of have that go back and forth. So there's so many options that they have. I just hope that they're smart enough to actually use them. Because if I'm seeing them, somebody on that team, please see them. Because there's so many avenues that they can go back. But I thought Jay looked really great out there last night. But I mean, that's pretty much all I got. Remember, this weekend, we have Saturday night main event. Even though it's probably going to be pretty great, John Cena is going to be there against R-Truth and everything. I think we'll see a little bit more build for Saturday night main event. Sorry, saying that 2 times fast.
No, don't do that. I've tried.
I think we're gonna see that build probably more so on Friday. Monday was so focused on Money in the Bank, but that's because the quick turnaround. We have this one. We have Saturday night this week. We have Money in the Bank in 2 weeks. So I feel like because Money in the Bank is one of like their major PLEs, it always has been. It's right up there with SummerSlam. They're focusing on build more so for that versus this like extra TV phenomenon, which is the Saturday night main event.
And I feel like they already had the matches set. Let's give them that credit. They already had the matches set. There's not too many. It's a short show. Great card. It's a great card. You got CM Punk, Sammy. You got Braun Breakers, Seth Rollins, John Cena, R-Truth. I think we have some more matches I can't think of right off the top of my head, but we have quite a great card. Final Boss. This is good. This is pretty. Maybe this is one of the best Saturday night main event cards.
Well, how many? This is like their second or third one only, though, right?
I think so. I think it's the third.
It's pretty new.
Fourth. I know we have had quite a few. I know we had quite a few of them. So, if I'm not mistaken, this might be the third or fourth one. We probably about to be rounding there. Yeah, I have the list here. We have Priest. Oh yeah, we have Priest and Drew McIntyre in a steel cage match. We haven't seen that yet. Yeah, it's a steel cage match. We only have 1, 2. There's only 3 matches on here. No,
3.
No, 4. My bad. I forgot about
4.
Yeah, it's only because usually they don't do too many matches for this PLE. Well, this TV event. It's mostly like maybe 4. You may get 5. But this is a good card because you have Logan and Jey Uso. That's a good match, Funny Boss.
But who do you think is going to win that? Let's do that.
It has to be Jay because Jay has only held this title for 2 weeks. It's only been 2 weeks, Funny Boss. It hasn't been. What's the name? Remember April? It was at this main of
Yeah. They're on the 20th, right?
Yes, he hasn't even.
Well, technically no, because if it was May 20th, it's been a month.
It's been a month. It's been a month. My bad. So it's been a month now. So I think if he loses it now, I mean that's the IC title he dropped fast, and then that will be the world heavyweight title he dropped fast. I don't have him losing it until he takes on Seth again. That's why they did the angle where they came in.
But here's the thing is that if Logan loses, what do you do with Logan? Unless they're gonna put him
I'll do your idea and have him join Seth. That's the only way
But if they're not gonna have him join Seth, then where would they put him?
Well, one thing about Logan, you gotta understand, he's lost against Roman, Seth, and still shine. So losing against Jay is not gonna hurt him. I mean, I
But
feel
what's the
if they keep him,
direction though? Where do you put him?
I don't know. I mean,
So,
you probably keep him by himself. I mean, if you're gonna
but
not, I
go
would go
against
with
who?
it on
What's
that.
gonna be a story?
Maybe same Logan. Nothing different. Same Logan. Same Logan. And now the Drew McIntyre and Damon Priest match. I'm not gonna lie. I have Priest win final boss.
Hmm.
You gotta get Priest. You gotta get Priest back on because it seems like since Priest dropped the match, Priest has not been Oh, okay. I did not know that. Okay, well, Priest might lose. Greg just gave us some information that Priest has been fighting
Mm.
multiple. He's he read somewhere, so if that's true,
Mm.
Drew was I know Drew had a great incident at Backlash where he hit his head, but I didn't know about Priest. I think I did see Triple H say something about a couple of guys had some spots, but it wasn't too bad. But if that is true, then my bad. I will change my pick. It would be Drew McIntyre. If Priest is fighting off injuries, hopefully he gets well soon. Maybe this is the way you write him off. And I'm not gonna lie, if you write him off like this way, Final Boss, have him come back as a new character. It's time for him and Rhea to be a whole new character. Cause that's maybe why your husband, Adam Pearce, thought damn Rhea was still in Judgment Day. Her character ain't changed. And that's why he probably thought that. So if that's the case, my bad. I have Drew McIntyre win the match, and you bring back Priest as a new character. I have John Cena, of course, winning. Um, Punk and Sammy. That's interesting. You got them going against Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins. They have to win. Seth and Breaker have to win. You have to establish this team. They have to win. Um, what do you do after with Punk? Maybe you some kind of way something happens where maybe we got to get Roman back, or did we just drop the angle with Roman and Punk? Is that whole angle going now? I just it's quite interesting because Roman supposed to be supposed to been um for the bill of Money in the Bank. And you're saying in which Greg said it will be June the 7th. Money in the Bank is around the corner, so I don't see. I think they dropped the whole thing with Cena and Roman. I think they're probably gonna go a different direction, which is crazy. So we'll see about Saturday night main event this weekend. Like I say, this might be one of their best cards, Final Boss. One of their best cards. Now I'll be interested to see what they're going to do when they go to New York because they're supposed to be going to Madison Square Garden real soon. So we'll see um what that that TV event will be. Punk Penn Seth. Wow, that will be major. That will be major. That will be. Ooh, that will be. When you say shock, that will be a shock. That will be quite a shock. That would be quite a shock, Miss Lena. So I don't know, Final Balls. You got any thoughts and things that might happen this Saturday for main event? Or are we good?
No, because you went through the whole card, so I ain't remember anymore. I don't even remember anymore. Like there was no pause, so I don't even remember anymore. All
It's
I
only four
know
matches.
is that John Cena is gonna win against R-Truth. That's all I know.
Well, who you got for Sammy and Punk versus Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker?
Mm, well, obviously, man, I think Seth and Braun is going to win
Yeah, they have to.
because they're just a new power team. Because if
Mm-hmm.
they lose, that's already dissension. Who caused the lose? So
Mm-hmm.
they're going to win. Um,
The only
Damian and
yeah, and Drew.
and Drew.
That's
Here
the
we
only
go
matches.
again.
Is it still cage match now, Final Boss? Is it still cage match?
No, they're always doing hardcore stuff.
Well, it seems like now more. Ever since the Hell in a Cell, Drew McIntyre has been tapping into that lately. I don't know if it's
And
something
then go
that.
ahead and have a write off of one of them. Write them off. Whoever loses get written off.
So you
Punk did it.
So you think Drew's gonna win this and Priest is getting wrote off?
Yeah, I mean, I say if they're gonna do something with Drew for real this time, write off Damian. If you're not gonna do anything with Drew and you're gonna have him just kind of floating around, always losing, then write Drew off and have him come back stronger. So I mean, that's where we gotta be. That's it. I mean, because this is crazy. Like their whole and even they said it's the vortex. So if they do this again, it's pretty much what Judgment Day was, Ascension all over again. But what happened? They spiced it up. So this is their chance now for the Damian and Drew to spice it up. Someone's getting written off and have them come back and do something else.
Yeah, we'll have to see, man. As you can see down at the bottom, we have our X accounts. If you guys want to give us a follow, thanks to every 180 people that came out and support us. If you want to continue to support us and come and talk it up with us, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Talk It Up. Me and Final Boss Baby. This is one of her babies. You can also catch me on X Live, where I do break it downs every other week or every once a month, where I break down. I do want to break down the NFL schedule of this season. It's a very interesting schedule. We're going to have a great season when it comes to the NFL. I might do that this Friday, around 6:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If I get time, I do want to break that down with you guys. We do appreciate y'all following us and also
wait a minute. So we have a whole TV special coming in on Saturday, but she's gonna talk sports on the Go Home Show.
Okay, who we gonna have coming in on Saturday?
Well, remember Saturday. Well, not us. WE is having Saturday night main event. So the Go Home Show is SmackDown, but instead you talking sports.
Well, it's at 6:00. It's at 6:00. So I don't know what's gonna go on in SmackDown. Because trust me, I'm not gonna be live because I gotta take my notes because something may happen because we might get some couple angles where I don't think we're gonna get something that will lead us to Saturday night, but I think we're building up to Money in the Bank. I think Money in the Bank is one of the most important PLEs. And I think we're going to get some angles that builds it up there. What's next for John Cena? Once after he wins this match, what are we going to do with him?
Just him winning and him being a heel, and then having the dissension of him going.
Y'all got Mr. 17 really retiring with this title.
That
was your idea, and you said that.
Unseen 17, the greatest of all time.
That will be wow. That if that happens,
he is. I believe that he is, but I believe he's gonna retire with it as a face. Like the last match would be him like being all teary eyed, him taking the title off, like with him.
I got a hot
unless the real thing is that he plays up this whole, heel run up until like the last month, and then he carries the title the whole time, and then when he has his last match. And he's in this whole time he's been having this whole, real thoughts in his head about him, going back babyface. And when his last match, he's retired, he cries and he leaves that belt in the ring and he walks away.
Well, I have a hot take, Final Boss. Okay. Roman Reigns will be at Saturday Night Main Event.
I don't think it's happening. I don't think this. I don't think we don't.
It's in Tampa.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like I don't feel like they're gonna have a place for Roman just yet. I think he's gonna come back couple months.
Well, the
Right now, there's too
places
many stores
that's
growing.
well, that Seth Rollins. Remember, Seth and Breaker are there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but they
you
got
can
the
do that.
Sammy. We got the Sammy issue and all that stuff in there. So I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see. You guys follow me, Miami the Great. You can see down there, Miami the Great 645. You can find Final Boss Lady. No CFO baby BBYZ, which I forgot the Z, so I didn't know that. She changes every minute, so y'all got to keep up with her. But please give us both a follow on X. And like I say on YouTube, thanks to everyone comments on the comments down below. Please guys tell your friends, go back rewatch some of our old episodes. We're at episode 4. Get us to 100 on one of our one of our videos, please. We're trying to get to 100 views. We got close. If you guys can help us get to that, you guys make this Talk It Up grow. We thank you guys for all the support. Final Boss Lady, I have my last thoughts, and I'm going to close it out. um do not give up on your dreams and aspirations. Success doesn't have a time step. Always remember that. That's one of my sayings for today. Always remember that success doesn't have a time stamp. Do not give up on your dreams and aspirations. Never give up, no matter how hard it gets. Always pick yourself up from where you're at. One door closed, another one will always open. Always remember that. Stay positive. Always keep your mental in check and make sure you're good every morning. Everyone, have a good day. We hope y'all all enjoy SmackDown. We hope y'all enjoy Saturday Night Main Event. I guess we will be doing these every week now, because when we get a chance. So you guys tune in to our YouTube to see when is the next Talk It Up. It's random. You never know. It could be on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, even sometimes maybe a Friday. We never know. But hey, if you tune in and subscribe and make sure you set your reminders, you will know. It will pretty sure the YouTube page will email you to let you know we're going to go live on that day. Thank you guys. We'll see you guys next week. Final Boss Baby, thank you for joining me, and thank you for being a great co-host. We'll see you guys next week.